People requested I took off the bottom portion for some reason. You guys can see it on YouTube, but it makes it hard to read the comments. So, I guess sort of cut that off also. Fine. You guys get the point. Guys, let's make this fun. Let's make some Jews. This show is only as interesting as you guys make it. So, yeah, you have something interesting to say, come on up. People who disagree, get on first, whatever that means. Like, I know who's going to disagree, but fine. So, yeah, as the title says, you can be Jewish. This is really not the bulk of what I teach about, but I figure if I'm only going to get a few seconds of your time, people on TikTok have a very short attention span. This should be the first thing you see, so it sort of sticks in your mind. Next time you're looking for a religion to become a part of, hey, why not become Jewish? All right? And yeah, I'm here to prove it, that Judaism is better, the second line. All right? I could prove it by argument. I can't prove that God exists or that the Torah is perfect or anything like that. Someone says, okay, I think you may need to study a little bit. Was on your live, and I don't know what that means. You really seemed a little confused on some of the Jewish questions. I don't know what you're talking about. Who is this? Oh, so join. I'm not sure. Talking about how to be a better person. Okay. Why would someone want to keep all the laws when you can have an equal merit by not being Jewish? Whoever said equal merit? Whoever said that no eyes have equal merit? What's the source for that? There's an opinion that you may be given a place in the world to come if you keep the 7 Noahide laws, and that's only if you keep them because you believe they were given through Moses in some way, or that, I guess another way of saying that is by submitting to Judaism, but that does not in any way imply that keeping the 7 Noahide laws is on the same level as keeping all of Torah, even according to halakha. Guys, like and follow, like and follow. Do you believe Moses wrote the first 5 books? I believe it in faith. I don't think I'm required to believe that. The Torah doesn't say that. What we're required to believe as people who take the Torah seriously is that the commandments came from God. All right. Nowhere does it say what. See how many people this. Okay. Follow. Okay. All right. So for Jew page could join me. Let's see. Disagree with me publicly. Welcome, the first guest of the evening.
Oh, thank you. I feel very honored to be accepted after what happened last time. I was kicked off.
I don't remember. I don't kick people off. I swap them out for other people. So when you say kick off, I don't remember what we spoke about before.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But it wasn't personal, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, here's my question for you. You said that basically, okay, you're trying to say you should become Jewish, right?
Wait. Okay. So if you're looking for an ethical outlet in this life, right? If you're looking to be part of something that's going to make you better, then from that perspective,
well, that's what the Khazars did too.
Right, but like you should
They
strive.
had to pick a religion.
Yeah. No, the Kuzari, you have a Jewish guy, a Christian, and a Muslim arguing for their faith. So there you have one Jew proselytizing. For some reason, they never thought that it was an issue. But yes, if someone's looking for an ethical outlet for their life, they should strive to become Jewish. Not that they should become Jewish, because I don't want everyone who just wants to become Jewish to be let in. However, if they are let in, they're fully Jewish. Yeah.
So can you agree that
I would say a lot of.
Go ahead.
A lot of people.
Go ahead.
No, all right. Well, I was saying. So a lot of people say that Moses was led out by God Himself, but if you read Scripture, of course, it says that an angel literally felt bad for him, and then took him under his wing, and then he let him out, which,
The,
a lot
the
of people
Bible says
say,
that an angel felt sorry for him.
yes, it said, no, it said that that an angel of the Lord um, redeemed them because, like, I don't know, he felt bad for him or something. But it doesn't say God led them out. It literally says, that an angel literally felt bad for him and redeemed them out
I'm
of
not
Egypt.
familiar with it saying that they felt bad for anybody. The angel of the Lord, many times, is just a human being. That means it's a messenger. That's what malach means. It doesn't always, it rarely, at least in the five books of Moses, means some
Oh,
metaphysical being.
right. Well, why did they mistranslate the Bible so badly on a lot of different things?
That's only in English. Now,
Yeah,
there's
oh
some
yeah,
commentators.
for sure.
Yeah. So there's some portions where it says malachim as angels, meaning messengers, but there Rashi would say this is melachim mamash, like these are actual angels. So the commentators insert a lot of folklore and legend into the text, but if you take it literally, it makes more sense that if you study it with a commentary. And it's weird to even say that because commentaries in Judaism are not there to explain what the literal text means, but to bring down legend and folklore.
Wait, what? Sorry. Can you? I'm not sure I'm understanding. You're saying you don't believe in commentary?
No. I'm saying that sometimes, probably in the vast majority of cases, commentaries confuse you even more because it depends who the commentator is. If the commentator is Rashi 8 out of 10 times is going to bring down the midrashic understanding of what that pasuk says or means. If you use the Rashbam, he's going to go literally. If you use the Ibn Ezra, he's going to use the philosophical understanding. So by the simple fact that you have different commentators, commenting different things, it means that there's no monolithic understanding for all the verses in the Torah. I think the
I
ethical
don't
ones.
agree. It's
So
different.
who do
It's
you
different
agree?
perspective and different ways
Who
of
do you
looking at
believe?
it. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're contradictory. Sometimes they are, but they can also coexist and give a better understanding.
Sometimes, right? But by the simple fact that they do sometimes contradict each other, one can't say that what one commentator teaches is like halacha l'moshe Sinai or it's Torah Shabbal Peh or something like that. Someone who says that only studies Rashi. I mean, there's commentators all across the board, and they constantly contradict each other.
So there's a
Yes,
specific
but
reason
you
for
have
that,
to
right?
bring up a specific example. Usually they're not really contradicting each other. People are just confused on how to understand them in a way
These are
that they can
human
both work.
beings. I wouldn't.
Yes.
Okay, but so commentators on Shakespeare do contradict each other. People who comment their personal opinions on anything bring contradictions. Why do you feel you have to embellish the existence of rabbis that for some reason they're all working in harmony? When you have Ashkenazi rabbis here who know nothing about Sephardi rabbis and Persian rabbis and Yemenite rabbis, everyone brings their opinion to the table. Commentary, the Meforshim, are not Torah Shabbal Peh. Torah Shabbal Peh deals with Torah, what you do, not what you believe. So Midrashim, Agadah, like all this stuff, it's essentially, if you don't find any meaning in it, it's somewhat disposable. With this idea that we have
So
to.
then,
I do not agree with you. I
Okay, no,
think
because
that
it sounds
so
like you
then,
every
worship
single
rabbis. I'm
commentary
sorry.
is interpreting it. I don't
so
understand.
so
Well,
There's
he
really
is
giving
interpreting it
support to what you're
himself,
Right, so
saying.
though.
explain it to me.
so then,
What he
so
said.
then the complexity of Judaism is what makes it better. That's what you're saying.
Oh
I
no,
mean, I
I
think
mean,
that many
we
people
haven't
have
even gotten
different
to
ways
that
of
topic yet.
understanding things.
Wow.
We haven't
Well,
even
Oh
got to that
man.
topic yet.
So
Let's handle
so
one
then
point at a
Judaism
time.
is
You
so
have to prove
complex.
to me where in the Talmud, where in the Chumash, where in
why do I
Tanakh.
have to bring up a specific
What?
thing
Yeah.
to
No,
say
any
that if
what
you're not bringing up?
you're making the claim that commentaries can always be harmonized and no one is contradicting each other. Like, so where's your claim for this?
I never said they never contradict. It's just that a lot of time you don't know necessarily if they actually are contradictory unless you specifically look at the example. Like you're making a claim that they are contradictory without giving a reason or proof of why. You're not giving any justification.
There, interpretation,
Yeah. It's
interpretation
called
between
preaching.
people. Each person
Yeah, it's called
interprets it the
preaching.
way they see it.
Like
So it's
different
the way
people have different
they
ways of
view it.
understanding things, and there's different perspectives.
Oh,
Like some people
okay.
are
True.
more
Yeah.
emotionally driven. Some
And
people are
some
more logically
perspectives
driven.
contradict other perspectives.
Like what?
Like if one rabbi says right and another rabbi says left. I mean, this occurs.
But why would they do that if
I
you're
mean, it's
supposed to be
different
following what your
opinions, and
God is
how to
telling
practice is not the
Well,
same thing
because they
as
want to confuse it.
No, because there's some verses that could be understood in different ways.
you? Wow.
like.
Well, how about Isaiah 14:12? And
That's
it
not the
does it.
Torah. We're talking about Torah commentators.
Oh, okay.
How
Yeah,
is
the first 5
okay?
books.
Fine,
Okay.
whatever. I mean, I
So
think
then,
that also you just used an example of what you just said wasn't the same thing. You used it as an example to support what you're saying. Like you just
Why?
said, oh, well, why does one rabbi lean to the right and the other says leans to the left? And you just
Okay,
said,
so
well, that's different opinions, and that's
if
how
I
to
would write a
practice.
commentary, right? I mean, I have smicha. If I would write a commentary, why wouldn't you elevate my commentary to the level of the Ramban or Rashi?
Because where are you getting it from?
Where are they getting
The
it from?
Torah.
They were apparently partially. I don't know if they were prophets, but there's a good
All right.
reason
This is
why we
worship.
believe
This is
in.
rabbi worship. No one will tell you that Rashi was a prophet. Okay. I mean, they make up things like Ruach HaKodesh.
but
Maybe he had this and that.
So why do people believe in Rashi? Like, why do so many people widely believe in Rashi? Not believe in it, but use it as a commentary. It's a way to better understand what the text is saying. It's you can't really say that it's wrong.
No, I didn't say it was wrong. Well, you could disagree with Rashi, and disagreeing is saying that it's wrong. Correct?
Or everything has to do
Yes,
with
you
cows.
can disagree,
What's up
but
with
you got to
that?
give proof onto why and what makes your opinion better than Rashi's. Like
Obviously,
you're
you have to have another opinion, but this idea that you can't disagree with commentators, I mean, it sounds like you're proving Muslims right when they say that Jews worship their rabbis.
I mean, maybe some Jews do.
Right, but that would be
Why is that
wrong.
so bad?
That would be
The
wrong.
point of a rabbi, not worship. I mean, the point of a rabbi is to hear what they're saying. If you disagree with the rabbi, get a different rabbi. Like you obviously don't understand
Oh,
that
you don't feel
rabbi
like that about
properly.
Rashi then?
I'm still trying to figure out
I mean,
with
I
these
just wouldn't jump to say that
conversations
that
why
automatically
Judaism is better.
commentaries are just
Guys,
not
Hold
bettering
on.
the
There,
Torah. Like you're
there's
I'm gonna
saying,
there's
break
there's
it
no
down.
idea that these commentaries are Nevi'im. Like that's not a thing. The reason we respect their opinions is because we respect the fact that they've learned more than us, and to some degree we
Well,
are
who
trusting
says
in their
that?
opinion. That's it.
Who says they know
Rashi
more
is
just because
actually a
they disagree
genius.
with
Like
Hold
us?
on.
if you read his things, it's just really intricate and really good insight, in my opinion.
Right, so you can appreciate it from a devotional perspective. The downfall of
Rather
Judaism,
than
the
what?
big theological, philosophical nosedive, is rabbi worship. I'll explain what
You're not an orthodox.
Emunas.
Hold up. You're
What?
not an orthodox. You're not orthodox if you are saying that commentary is wrong. What makes you orthodox?
I am Orthodox, but I'm going to articulate it, okay?
But
I'm gonna
commentary could be
explain it.
wrong. Of course, it's wrong. You have commentary of different opinions, so one of them has to be right, one of them has to be wrong. It's fine
That's
to say
not
that
necessarily
some
true.
commentary is wrong.
Here, look. My war in the Balchuva world, because I don't think very, very knowledgeable academic people beef with me in this, is that they don't know how to properly appreciate rabbis. Right? I mean, they think that if you disagree with the rabbi, you're saying that you don't believe in Torah Sheba'al Peh, or that the rabbis are wrong. Okay?
Who said that?
No.
When?
Well,
What are you
okay. Well, anyways.
Well,
And
no. The question is, like, do you to use our words, like, do you hold by one, or are you just disregarding all rabbis and saying no, I don't care what any of them said because it's not straight from Torah?
Yeah, what do you believe in? That's my question.
So I'm going to explain to you what Judaism is from my perspective, right? And I think this
So
is
what you believe?
no. Well, you just asked me what I believe, right? But
Right.
what I believe wasn't made up by myself. I mean, this is how the Rambam brings it down. There's
Your interpretation.
So you believe only in the Rambam?
no. I mean, you're asking me a question or what? I mean, I'm bringing
I
down the
just want to
Rambam.
know what
For some
you
reason,
specifically
you elevate
believe, not
rabbis to such
necessarily
an
what's
extent
true.
that you elevate rabbis to such an extent that if I don't tie my ideas to some posek or some rishon, where you're going to say I'm making it up. Okay, this is how the Rambam teaches it. Judaism is only Torah Sheba'al Peh and Torah Shebiktav. Torah Sheba'al Peh are the rulings of Tanaim, the men who sat on the Sanhedrin. That's what appears in the Mishnah. Torah Shebiktav is the 5 books of Moses. Commentators don't fit into that section. Commentaries are not Torah Sheba'al Peh. We don't learn how to keep halachot because of what appears in Rashi or the Ramban or the Rashbam. They're there.
They don't really say halachot.
No, I know.
Wow.
I'm telling you
Hold on,
what
the 13
Judaism is.
principles aren't from Chazal.
Where are you guys going?
So, oh my gosh, hold on.
So all this is subject to interpretation, just like Christianity.
I just don't understand where you're... Okay, what are you trying to prove right now?
Just let me finish. So, I appreciate commentators, but I have to judge for myself if their commentary is worth even telling over. There are some commentaries that are completely stupid, okay? And Rashi himself, I mean, I think a lot of his statements are stupid. For example, he says that the Arab Rav were evil. Now, it's not only his opinion, he's bringing down one medrash, but there's other medrashim that teach the opposite, but that they were the best and brightest in Egypt, okay? I appreciate Rashi for some things. I appreciate the Rashbam, who called his grandfather a failure, right? I mean, the Rashbam's grandfather was Rashi, because he said that Rashi's goal in the beginning was to make a parish from the Pashat level, from the literal understanding of the text. He failed because it's all midrashic. So the Rashbam says, I'm going to finish my grandfather's job. His parish is completely different. It's rational, it's to the point, right? And then there's other people like the Ibn Ezra who put a philosophical twist on anything, on everything. The Rambam, supposedly he had a parish that was lost, but they've combined most of his commentaries of the Torah that appears in Mishneh Torah and stuff like that and made a commentary that you could buy. But, I mean, for the most part, they contradict each other. I mean, and that's what makes them special. They bring different ideas to the table. But there are some ideas that are wrong. There are some ideas that are not as impressive or ethical as other ideas. This notion to everybody.
I don't agree with you.
Because we belong to Art Scroll Judaism. Art Scroll Judaism, okay, is this world full about tshuvas that the only thing you know is what appears in the Art Scroll translations. And the only commentaries you know is what appears printed in every chumash. Okay, but that's primitive.
What does that have to do with this, what you're saying?
Because I'm bringing a perspective that you never heard of. Because the only Judaism that you seem to be familiar with is mainstream Judaism, mainline Judaism.
What is mainstream Judaism?
All right. I mean, it's not too complicated. I'm not saying that you're completely wrong. There's some great things that Rashi brings down, but this idea that we could never disagree with him, or that we have to in some way, show all this honor. First of all, I don't believe in Yeridat HaDorot. I don't believe because Rashi existed before that he's automatically greater. Okay? There's some things that he said that I'm actually, against portions of Rashi even being studied, because he'll take a pasuk and he'll translate it according to what the Medrash says, even though it contradicts the literal meaning. This is why in some cases it's better to read the Chumash, if you don't know Hebrew, from a Christian translation than a Jewish translation, because a lot of the Jewish translations actually translate according to midrashim of what they say the pasuk should
Wait,
be.
hold up. What did you just say? Repeat that sentence again. I just want to hear that clearly.
But that's dangerous because there are parts in
Did
Torah
you just
where
say
it'll actually repeat
we
something
should
in
learn
order
the
to
Christian
say the
Bible
opposite?
to learn Judaism?
Wait, that's not what I said. Regarding the Chumash, all right, the 5 books of Moses, because that's what we study every day. 3 times a day, we're supposed to read the weekly Parsha, twice in Hebrew, 1 in Aramaic. It's better. Christian translations to the Chumash are more accurate than Jewish translations. Okay.
So are you
by Jewish translations? I mean the Gutnick edition, the Art Scroll Stone edition, because they're so frum that they refuse to translate a pasuk literally, and because Rashi says that it should be translated like the Agadah says, like our folklore and legend says, and not how it literally appears. That's a problem.
Usually when I'm looking at Art Scroll, it'll actually even say in the notes that this is the literal, but then this is the accepted
I've never seen
translation.
That. I've never seen that distinction. I mean, they would make a distinction.
I feel like I see that often.
So they believe in what's called Das Torah, that if Rashi said something, it can't be wrong. And this is what she's trying to articulate. But it's silly that whether it comes from a rabbi or from this young lady.
Why is it silly?
The idea that rabbis can make mistakes is silly.
Everyone can make mistakes.
So that's what Das Torah means. Das Torah means
So
that,
are there people that don't make mistakes ever?
according to some Jews, yes.
Who are these people? Sadiqs that don't exist
Yes.
right now?
According to the
No, but
Talmud,
that's silly.
a tzaddik
That's silly
doesn't
because
sin.
Moshe Rabbeinu made mistakes.
No, I know. Obviously, I don't believe that, but Jews believe that. I mean, the first
No Jews
the first
believe
prokim
that.
of the
No, we don't.
Tanya teaches that tzaddikim don't sin. Okay, I mean that's what it teaches. Now,
No,
Absolutely.
it
a
doesn't
tzaddik,
actually.
according to the Rambam, is something different. Like, you don't know Judaism well enough to critique it. I'm sorry. This idea that you
You
think
are saying okay, listen, you are saying things that are totally just not Jewish ideas. I don't know why you're saying that all Jews believe that people
Most Jews.
don't make mistakes.
most
I have
Jews,
not met one Jew that
Wait,
thinks
what? No.
not
most
one.
Jews, most Haredi Jews, most Orthodox
I
or
have not
ultra-Orthodox Jews believe in
met-
this notion of Das Torah, and they believe in the notion of tzaddikim from a Kabbalistic perspective.
No,
the
they don't
notion of
believe
a
that they don't
tzaddik-
make mistakes.
Well, okay, I'm not trying to convince you of this. Okay, I don't believe it, but most Jews believe it.
No
okay?
one believes that.
All right, fine.
I
People,
disagree with that. I'm an
Everything I
Orthodox
say,
Jew. That's
trust
not a
me,
concept I've heard.
A
ask
lot
the
of the
Lubavitcher
things that you
if a
say are
tzaddik
not
makes a
in
mistake.
line with actual Judaism. Like things that you're saying, Jews believe this. Let's
Gosh,
learn the
religious
Christian
Jews.
Bible and translate it instead of learning from Art Scroll. Like, what are you saying?
I said that Christians could be trusted
More than Jews? So then
more,
why?
yes,
why aren't
absolutely,
we
more
being
than
Christian?
Jews to give you the literal translation in the vast majority of cases than the average Orthodox Jew that has to bounce everything with midrashim and that what they read in some other book, right? This is the problem that Christians typically don't have because they have this notion of sola scriptura.
Hey, look at this comment right here. Bro is undercover Christian.
Okay.
I honestly am starting to believe that too at this point.
I mean, if you think you're making your point by insulting me, then
It's
go
no,
ahead.
I'm not trying to insult you. I'm
All
not
right.
trying to insult you.
The problem
Take it
is
out.
there aren't too many Orthodox Jews who know Judaism on this platform. Why don't you ask Lubavitcher if the Rebbe made mistakes?
Why are you so down? That yes, he did.
No,
He didn't.
ask the
they-
Lubavitcher.
no one-
You said nobody in Judaism believes that tzaddikim are fallible. Okay? The Kabbalistic notion of a tzaddik, as it appears in the Tanya, is that tzaddikim don't make mistakes. Now, is that what the Torah say? No. Is
That's
that
what a
the-
tzaddik is. It doesn't mean that we actually think that there's people can't make mistakes.
That's not
Someone
what a
can be
tzaddik
But
is.
hold on. I don't understand how that could be a concept when what we learn every day in Talmud, Gemara, whatever, is rabbis, the Rebbeim, who are, I would assume, are tzaddikim, debating things. So if they're debating something, one of them has to be right, one has to be wrong. So
Well,
I
that's
don't
not
understand how that
convincing.
could possibly be a notion.
I'm a rationalist.
Yeah, I
okay? But
agree.
this is a notion. The notion of Das Torah and Adam Godo, a Sefer Torah high, they believe that Gedolim have this spirit of God over them that they call Das Torah. I mean, this is not something I
Okay,
made
so
up.
so when Gedolim were debating,
Mhm.
how are they both right?
So they believe because of a statement of Elu ve'elu Dibur Likim Chaim, right? That everything that a Gadol says, like the young lady says, has to be harmonized, but it's never wrong. I'm just telling you what Haredim
I
teach.
didn't say that.
You said that we have to
I
harmonize.
said there's a possibility that they can coexist as mefarshim. I didn't say that.
Is
there's
there
no
always a possibility?
contradictions.
Okay. I'm not making this up. It just seems that maybe you don't dialogue with ultra-Orthodox Jews enough. That's it.
I do.
No,
I
I don't
am
think you
getting-
do. I don't think you do. You think I'm lying
okay,
about
like,
this. I've been
you
teaching Judaism
know
for over
me and-
18 years online. I've
Don't you
debated
wanna
more
educate me
Haredim,
then
Muslims,
and
atheists
talk
than
it out with
anybody.
me?
I'm sorry?
Well, so then don't you want to talk this out with me so you can educate me?
I've tried. I'm trying now.
So why?
You
What's
don't
the
have
point
to
in pointing
convince
that
me.
out?
I know that people make mistakes. And I made videos trying to disprove the Haredi position that Das Torah doesn't exist, that the reason we have books in the Talmud like Masechet Torayot, it's a book that deals with the errors of the Sanhedrin, that the Gedolim back then, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Shua ben Prachya, they all made mistakes. Why do Tzaddikim nowadays, why do we believe as Orthodox or Haredi Jews that they don't make mistakes? This is the Haredi Kabbalistic position. Only because you didn't hear about it, what doesn't mean I'm lying. Okay, I mean it's a lot to lie about.
I don't think that. I don't understand why you're picking out Haredim and saying that they're wrong when if you don't believe in, if you're not Haredi, then obviously you aren't going to believe what they believe and probably don't understand it in the way that they do.
Okay, so although I may not look it, I am pretty Orthodox. I mean, I've been in yeshiva for many years. I lived in Israel, but I mean, hold on one second. Okay, in terms of what I know and how I practice Judaism, I'm pretty Haredi because I'm a fundamentalist. I don't whitewash Judaism. I don't. Ask me.
Whitewash Judaism?
Yeah, I don't.
So who is
whitewashing
Judaism?
Wait, but I think you have to be careful though when you're saying that all Orthodox people believe this.
Not okay.
It's a very dangerous comment to make.
People. I'm Orthodox. I don't believe that. But the vast majority of Haredim believe in the notion of Gedolim, in the notion of Das Torah, in the notion of Yeridat HaDorot.
But Haredim are not a majority of Orthodox.
But you're not Haredi, so
I'm telling you because I am part of the Haredi world. Okay, I mean,
but Haredim are not the majority of Orthodoxy.
What?
But Haredi are not the majority of Orthodoxy.
I feel like you're kind of almost like
Haredi. Okay,
you're like cutting down so many different types of Jews when you're saying Judaism is better.
Are the vast majority of Orthodox Jews?
That's not true.
You may not see it in places like Toronto and Miami.
That's just not true. It's not true.
All right, so let me explain.
That's the smallest portion of Jews.
No, I said of Orthodox.
Among Orthodoxy.
Right. If you go to New Square, if you go to Williamsburg, if you go to Borough Park, if you go to Crown Heights, these people are there in droves. I'm not saying a young Israel like in Iowa or in Thornhill. Go to Stamford Hill. I mean, these people have 20 children almost minimum.
Have you looked up the actual number?
What?
Have you actually counted the actual number?
No.
So then you can't make that claim.
I live and breathe, and things in life either confirm the obvious or are typically wrong. Perhaps if you were just walk down Meir Sharim, Geula, B'nai Brach. The vast majority of Orthodox Jews are Haredi, the vast majority. Okay, that's it.
I don't think that you can't derive anything from that because that's just not logical reasoning. Like you can't say because I see so many people means that they're the majority. That's not a claim.
Okay, next question. Go ahead.
Asher, what's up, brother? How are you?
Nope. Yeah, but let's stay with Judaism. I don't want to talk about Christianity right now. I mean, it's
a question for you.
It's a shame that there aren't enough knowledgeable Orthodox Jews on here to back up my claims. All right. I mean, I really don't think I'm too bright, but for some reason there aren't too many people teaching Judaism from an Orthodox perspective that are willing to dialogue on this platform. Now,
you're saying that, but you're kind of just like controlling the conversation and not really willing to argue it in a way that's fair.
I did. I mean, I even gave you the names for these notions.
You said, because I see a lot of Haredis with my own eyes, it means that they're the majority. When you have not even looked at
That's not the point. That's not the point. But the point is that Haredi, specifically Kabbalistic Judaism, teaches the notion that their Rebbes in Admor doesn't sin. Okay, that rabbis don't make mistakes. What?
You know what else I know about Kabbalah is that it's something that's very hard to understand, and even the most learned rabbis tell people not to learn it because it's easy to misunderstand.
So you're using this platform to just tell us what you happen to know about Judaism. What does that have anything to do with what I'm saying? Okay.
That's what you're doing.
There's some Jews who walk around teaching Kabbalah to children.
And is that right?
No. I don't even believe in Kabbalah. But Chabad has something called Kabbalah tunes. That means it's Kabbalistic lessons, specifically from the Tanya, that they teach to children.
I mean, like so far, all you've done
there's no way that you
pointed out things that are wrong in Judaism, and then you say Judaism is better. So I'm very confused on what you're trying to do.
Okay. Because I think from your perspective, in order for me to promote anything, it has to be perfect. Judaism doesn't have to be perfect to defeat Christianity and Islam in terms of ethics and purpose. Okay,
why are you cutting down
Judaism is still better.
in order to prove it's better? But how are you saying it's better?
Okay, you obviously haven't heard my talks here. I dialogue with Muslims and Christians in a respectful manner, and my point is that what makes Christianity and Islam ethical is that they feed from our ethical well. They appropriate the mitzvot in any way, whether they embody them through Jesus or they just completely steal them and put them in a different book called the Quran. Fine. So by the simple fact that they have to feed from our ethical well, from that perspective, it would benefit people to go with what's older and not with religions that essentially just brought narrative and metaphysics to the table. And I like narrative and I like metaphysics. However, that's not the meat. Now, you're probably expecting me to say that Christianity is garbage and Islam is garbage. I don't believe that. I believe Christianity is good and I believe Islam is good. I just think Judaism is better. That's it. And it's that subtle point that's going to get people to consider converting.
So I just came up here because she made the claim that there aren't any Orthodox Jews that make the claim that there are people that have been sinless.
No, majority. Not that there's nobody.
So do you believe that for Jew Page?
There might be, but I'm not going to say that that's the majority.
No, the goal is just to disagree with me. I mean, that's the goal.
Yeah,
I mean, to say that, I don't know what I'm talking
because
about.
I'm about to
It's
show
to
you part of the
understand
rabbi's book where he
why Judaism is better from your perspective. That's my goal.
It's interesting whether you're here defending and speaking in behalf of Judaism, but you don't believe it's better than other religions.
I mean, I honestly don't know if it's better or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. And why is that bad?
But you know I'm wrong. That you do know.
No. I want to know why it's better.
Right, and I'm explaining to you. In terms of ethics, trust me, I'm pretty sure you proselytize day and night on concepts like Zionism, right?
No.
So
I don't even talk about that because I just don't.
Okay, so then you don't believe that Palestinians should acknowledge Israel's right to exist?
I have no idea.
All right, okay. I mean, now you're being intellectually dishonest. There's many things in your life that you believe what's good for you is good for others.
I don't know enough about the conflict to make a claim.
Okay, and I feel this applies to Judaism as well. You don't know enough about Judaism to challenge me.
I mean, I am not trying to challenge you. I'm trying to understand why you think Judaism is better.
Okay.
Bro, I feel like he's explaining.
Yeah, but I think he already answered that a few times.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're like in high school varsity team and you're speaking to somebody in the NBA and you're correcting them on their form when they're way more advanced than you. So obviously from your perspective, it's going to look like he's not doing what you're accustomed to seeing, and you're just criticizing everything.
I understand why it looks like that, and I just don't. Okay. Can you tell me the reason he said that Judaism is better?
Listen. You think that I'm
He said he just said it. He said Judaism is better because it has a Torah. Because all the laws, the original place that the well that it came from was the Torah, and then Christianity, Yeshua came and he taught Torah, and then the Torah is mentioned in the New Testament. And then further down the line, 500 years later, Islam takes portions of that as well, and it mixes it into their Bible, into their Quran, and that's why he believes Judaism is better, because it comes from, everything else comes from the original. So if you want something organic, you go to the organic meat. If you want a little bit GMO or whatever it is, then you go outside of that. But it's still food. But you should just go to the original source. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
So essentially, he doesn't believe anything that the New Testament says is a new concept with regard to the Torah. I mean, he would be right. The New Testament, where you find Torah, it comes from Tanakh. And so in his point of view, why go to the later sources? Go to the earliest source, and that's Torah, and that's Judaism.
Yeah.
I disagree with that position, but that's what he's explaining. That's why he thinks it's better.
Okay.
For DuPage, so like what point do you disagree with? Like, because I mean, I don't think you necessarily disagree with that. You disagree with his application and acceptance of more modern ideas, I would assume, right?
I'm just a little bothered by the overall style of how he's pointing this out, maybe I'm misunderstanding the application. I think maybe to me it feels a little disorganized, so it just feels like he's just cutting down a lot of other people.
I just think he's brutally honest.
Hold on.
That's,
But I think
mean,
I'm the
yeah,
only Jewish person who gives Christianity respect, Islam respect, to the point that I want every atheistical Jew, if he's not going to become a Torah observant Jew, to become an ethical Christian or an ethical Muslim. How can I be making people mad? I mean, most Muslims love talking to me because they know that I'm going to let them speak and I'm going to treat them with respect. Most Jews can't claim that. Most Jews, the first thing they do, I'm telling you what most Jews, what I see like in the Israel-Palestine debates, it's horrible and it's a bad representation of Judaism. Here, we respect dialogue, and I think people learn the most when they hear two people argue their side. That's it. Now, it's interesting that you hear me proselytizing Judaism, but I'm honest and I say that I mentioned the problems that Judaism actually has, because I don't want to bring someone to Judaism and then build resentment, like saying, well, you lied to me, because, I mean, Jews have problems as well. For sure, we have problems, okay? I agree with almost everything you said in terms of rabbis making mistakes and this and that, but I'm just telling you, the debates I've had in the Haredi world are like that our rabbi taught it like this. Do you think you know more than our rabbi? Or our rabbis, or a gadol says something, so then you have to listen to him. Now, there's some truth to that, right? And this is what Torah Shabbat Peh actually is, that the Sanhedrin, people who had smicha going all the way back to Moses, if they ruled something into existence, and this is what the Mishnah is, we're commanded to do it. We're not commanded to believe the reasons why, or believe metaphysical concepts that they may have created, but in terms of halacha le'maaseh, like what you actually do, that you have to obey. But that ceased in the 4th century of the Common Era, when the Sanhedrin was done away with. So I believe in Torah Shabbat Peh. I don't believe in metaphysical concepts like if there's a guy with a long beard with the title rabbi before his name, that I can't in some way call him wrong, but I have to in some way accept what he says, but try to absorb it or harmonize it with everything else, right? I mean, that sounds like worship, right? I mean, like unhealthy service towards a person who probably sins as much as you do.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with disagreeing with specific rabbis, but why we got to say that there's a lot of them that people are worshiping when we don't necessarily understand their perspective.
Okay. I mean, I think that you just don't like me. That's fine.
I don't have an issue with you.
Come on. This is all personal. And there's many people who've begun like this, and after they see other people like Hebrew Hammer and Reuven and Rena saying, listen to Asher, that what he's saying is not so far-fetched, they typically come around. And that's for any rabbi. I challenge any rabbi to debate me. And at the end, I could almost guarantee you, because this is the trend, that I have these videos on my channel. Go to TorahJudaism.com under media and debate. They're like, yes, what you're doing is in line with some opinions in Talmudic literature. I'm not making anything up. Okay, I mean, to the point that I explain the wrong we do as Jews, right? And I still tell people to become Jewish, because it'll make your life easier. It'll make my life easier. I mean, heck, we'll have cheaper tuition, cheaper kosher food, more people to date and marry. It's a win-win all around. Okay, so I'm on your side here. But as someone who talks to Gentiles all day, I have to speak in a way that they understand. So and that sounds cringy to many Jews, unfortunately. Right. Yeah. Well, I've asked Tovia Singer to debate, because I see some people writing stuff in the comment, and he's refused every time. Okay, that's it.
I mean, I don't think that it's necessarily coming from a place of not liking you. I think there might be some defensiveness, but shouldn't that be, I feel like that would be good to discuss. Even if it feels like I don't like you, or I'm just trying to argue with everything you say, it's just a style of understanding.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Jewish style, unfortunately. I mean, like an abrasive style, because most Jews typically don't speak to people who disagree with them much.
I mean, it's like the Socrates method. You question everything. It's not necessarily meant to be like...
Yeah, you can do it in a nice way.
Aggressive. Okay, so if I have been aggressive, I'm sorry. I can get heated, and it's not you. I don't think it's necessarily personal. I think it's more... Yeah, I guess I could work on that.
Okay. Well, to comment on someone, I don't know, there's some dummy in the comments here saying that your own Reuven destroyed me. I've challenged him many times to debate. He said no. I challenged Yossi Mizrahi. I mean, he said no. And there's a reason why they say no.
Do you feel like frustrated that these people won't debate with you? And are you taking it personally?
No. Well, partially because my interest in debating them is not to defeat them, for the sake of making them look bad, but I want their students to understand that there's a different perspective and they're only given one perspective. I never said it. I have videos defending the Rabbi Mizrahi, when he was thrown under the bus, because I have an issue with cancel culture, and religious people do it more than anybody. There's different ways that you can understand the halacha. There's different ways, that appear by Chazal. It appears in the Talmud. It's as many different ways. So when I hear what Yaron Reuven throw Manish Friedman under the bus because he doesn't like Manish Friedman's chidush, like his spin on something, and he calls him a heretic, and he partakes in character assassination, that makes you want to debate that person, to let people know, his students know, that he's not as smart as he thinks he is. That's it. And
no, I hear that.
Yeah. And if people would dialogue, trust me, the average person is not equipped to come on a live and let everybody who disagrees with him on, where they could be recording and this and that, because they'd lose face. I don't care about losing face. I've been doing this long enough, all right, that I know what I teach and I'm willing to learn, but I've been doing it long enough that I know what these rabbis are going to say. And for the most part, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Do you want to finish?
No, go ahead.
What you were saying? What?
Yeah, no, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I think that it's almost like, I think that they're getting defensive, and it's not necessarily that they don't, it's complicated because they have a very strict way of thinking. And in my opinion, there is a value to that. I think that for them to play a role that they are playing, they have to be very closed-minded, because how else are they going to stay so stringent to their halachot?
That's not true. I'm pretty stringent to my halachas, and I'm not a jerk.
Oh, you're saying they're all jerky to you?
No, not to me, to other rabbis. I don't care about, people are jerky. You were jerky to me in the beginning. I have no issue with people being jerky to me. Please, concentrate the hate on me. I could take it, but I don't like that when he attacked this, like Rav Dror, like Jonathan Sachs, who passed away a little while ago. Calling them heretics, wicked. Ben Shapiro he attacked. Dennis Prager he attacked, and he refuses to debate anybody. If you're going to attack people, according to proper midos, you have to give that person an opportunity to have a dialogue with you. Okay, give him musar properly. To give musar properly means that you publicly have some sort of dialogue to hear the other person out. But not, oh, he's a heretic, and because I feel that he's wicked, like the laws of lashon hara don't apply. All right, yeah, he's very primitive from that perspective. I agree. And they almost all do the same thing, unfortunately.
I think that if anyone, I don't think you've met all rabbis. If you want, I can actually.
I never said I met all rabbis. Okay, obviously, for the most part. Okay, that's it.
Bro, you gotta kick them off. Okay.
All right, so this doesn't appear on YouTube, by the way. When I download the video and I post it up, whatever. But how does someone like that get 10,000 followers or 1,000 followers?
Exactly.
All right, so that completely
that derailed the whole conversation.
That's it.
That derailed
the toughest dom.
I remember when it used to happen in the when you used to do YouTube and when you used to do the other stuff. Oh my God.
TST, that's what they call it.
If you want to discuss with qualified Orthodox rabbis, I actually know one that you might vibe with and could have a really productive conversation with.
Ask them. I'm pretty sure they know who Asher Meza is because they talk enough crap about me. Say, look, there's this guy named Asher Meza. Don't even call me rabbi because I don't, whatever. I have smicha, but if that's like a barrier that's going to keep them from dialoguing with me, fine. Say, look, this guy wants to talk with you live on the air and ask you a few questions. And he's and I'm Shomer Shabbos, Shomer Mitzvahs, all of the above. Okay? 9 out of 10 times, they'll say no because most Jews don't want to dialogue with people who disagree with them much, especially publicly, because most rabbis get paid for what they do. Okay? And their donors wouldn't like it. I'm just telling you. This is the way it is. I don't get paid for what I do.
I don't know what you mean.
What?
I'm confused about what you just said. Their donors don't like it, so they can't go live.
Yeah. Well, they won't be cornered into saying things that makes them look unpopular. There's some things
they don't want to go live because it's not for them. It's like not.
No what?
It's not like. Sorry. I'm having a hard time coming up with the right word that I want to use, but it's just not like what they're about. It has nothing to do with being afraid of what you're gonna say or what they're gonna say. It's that they just don't feel comfortable going live. Like a lot of people don't feel comfortable going live.
Right. So I agree that for the vast majority of rabbis, but for like Rabbi Mizrahi and Yaron Reuven, they're genuinely scared.
I don't know them personally.
Yeah, but you don't know them. But fine. But for those who do, let them know what I said.
It sounds to me like y'all got beef.
Oh, yeah, we got beef.
What happened exactly?
So many things. I mean, so many things. It's fine. I mean, they have whole videos about me. You know,
trying to
insult you like your character.
All right, hold on.
They try and dox people.
Right.
That's true. Okay. Do not listen to this Rabbi Asher.
Here, hold on. Let me find it here.
You're wrong, Reuven.
You know, for 6 minutes straight, and this is just.
Wait, play it. I want to hear.
Yeah, hold on.
Let's listen.
There's a special place in Gehinom for Rav Asher. Rashta Mevusha.
Here, listen to this.
Meza, because say things over the years where he simply did it because Meza gave him a job when nobody else did. People without knowing it. Now I understand why the Talmud, Meza, i.e. the boss also, that gave him a job, what they said. Like, for example, Asher Meza, because he's so arrogant and he seems so confident, when he talks, it's almost, people think that what he's saying is 100% right. So he says, I don't think the Rambam never said that. So when he says it with such confidence, the audience, which are ignorant themselves, doesn't check. For so many years,
hear what he's saying, though. He has
and the rest of the people on the list. Happening to some of these wicked people like Asher Meza and others, or Meravis, or most.
That's not necessary.
Recently, Asher Meza. Generally speaking, the one common denominator among all of them, aside from their deceit and their lashon hara and their with Asher Meza, which just literally in the last 24 hours, meaning according to Asher Meza's religion, it's not Judaism. He just calls it Judaism. It says the rabbis. This is unfortunately the teachings of people like Meza and the others. Meza, all the other Deshaim that we mentioned countless times. That's not a machloket. There is no machloket between me and Asher Meza. There is no machloket between me, whether it's the people that we've mentioned, like Friedman and Meza and all the other people that we've mentioned. Sometimes we see the Shaim like Slifkin or Meza or Prager and Meza, which make people more heretical than they do make them do tshuva. Excuse of a Rabbi Meza says how he's very ethical and how he wants to debate and how he wants the truth out there, while him and his partners, Klokowski and Otero, so the types of belief system that's preached by Meza and his teacher Prager and all of the people that are like them, all these so-called rationalists. The issue that's happening with Asher Meza and his rabbi Klokowski actually have gotten a heart attack when they saw that the rabbi of Asher Meza is a Mechalel Shabbat. It's desecration of Hashem's name. Now, and this is the rabbi of Asher Meza. Of course, spreading false rumors, and of course his Talmud, or two Talmidim, Meza and the other garbage pail kid. And obviously we see here it makes a lot of sense why Asher Meza is distorting the Torah on a regular basis, where his rabbi is desecrating the oneg of Shabbat. It explains that the Talmidim, the students of Meza, feel perfectly comfortable to put pornography on his videos. It's that Klokowski knew from day one he needs Meza, because Meza gave him a job at some point years ago, whether Moshe Otero or his boss Asher Meza. Now this idiot is, I call him an idiot, not because he gave a smicha to Meza. That I know from actually reading documents. We offered a deal to the Reshaim, Asher Meza and his partner in crime, Moshe Otero, because the Bet Din doesn't pay us a single dollar. But Asher Meza and Moshe Otero don't have any money to donate or to give or to anything. But Moshe Otero and Asher Meza stand with their cases. One of the main root problems of these so-called rationalists like Slifkin, Meza, Prager, and the rest of the Reshaim in that group, that all on a regular basis make fun of anything that's not halacha, because you have not learned as much as them. And for people like Meza and the others that make fun of the Zohar, go ahead and ask them, how many times this is chutzpati's game? This is the nerve of this generation. Nerve of people like Meza or Friedman or Alevi, or all these Reshaim that we've discussed in the past. Poke fun at the mystical teachings of the Mashiach, such as Meza, who says, some fools think that the Mashiach is something supernatural, that he even knows your thoughts. This type of attitude shows that not only did they not read the oral Torah with these people.
Pause it.
A guy named Asher Meza.
Yeah.
Pause it. Like, so right there, I don't know why most Jews would be upset with you. He's validating more a Christian position than you are. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It's because Rav Meza is from the Sitra Achra, and Rav Meza is a Rasha, and there's a special place in Gehinom for people that don't like Zohar, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you're a rabbi that only talks about spilling seed, I mean...
Rav Meza loves spilling seed. No, I'm joking.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he said that somewhere.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah. So with this idea that the rabbis can't be jerks, and I'm sure no one made that claim here. There's a lot of jerky rabbis out there, and he still doesn't want to debate me. So fine. This is probably like 10 of his videos that I just found my name in it. So, and this video I put out probably like a year and a half ago. You could imagine how my name must have come up after that. But fine, whatever.
And what's crazy though is, didn't you have him over at your house for Shabbos?
No. So we used to be friendly because we live in the same neighborhood, right? He lives like a few blocks down. So when he started off, he was giving lectures. He started off giving lectures maybe 5 years ago. So I would go to different shuls to listen to lectures, and then I sat in one of his lectures, but I was the only one there. I mean, there was a camera and there was him. And he's like, Asher Meza, you inspired me to make videos, this and that. He treated me like a celebrity. And then we took a picture together that day. This is in the synagogue, like in Highland Lakes, right here, like the Highland Lake Synagogue. It's a pretty nice shul. And then a second time I went to one of his lectures and he gave me like the red carpet. And this was on film. Like he called me his friend and everything. And then out of nowhere, that once he started getting more of a following, he just started throwing me under the bus, right? Because he started realizing that what I teach, it is not in alignment with what his rabbis teach. So then, someone had to go, and it wasn't his rabbis, and in particular his cousin. And that's where the problem started. That's it. I don't attack any rabbi. I attack bad ideas, but I don't do character assassination. We discuss ideas on this show. Like, we don't insult personal people unless they're jerks. And this guy's a jerk. That's it. And he has a list of 14 or 15 rabbis, including people that if you read it, I'm pretty sure that there's some rabbi in there that you admire. and he calls them heretics. They're all going to burn in hell, and then no one's allowed to listen to them just because this guy.
Yeah, like didn't he publicly post that blacklist?
Yeah, it's the blacklist of Rabbi Mizrahi and him. I have kippas that are older than he's been religious. Okay, I mean he's about shul. I mean I converted 25 years ago, and even before that I was religious. Okay, so it's he's an amateur, and he's going to come around, but he's an amateur. Whatever. What are you going to do? I mean, by the simple fact that he sees the world so black and white, and doesn't acknowledge that there's nuance in Judaism, right, or gray area, but whatever. Also, it doesn't help that he's Sephardi. I mean, Sephardim also have this black and white view of the world. If you disagree with their rabbi, then you're a heretic. Ashkenazim are more open-minded, right? I mean, if you ask an Ashkenazi rabbi a question, he'll give you 5 answers, and then he'll tell you, do what your Rav tells you to do. That's it. That's the more reasonable approach. But if you ask this guy a question about anything, they'll give you a definitive answer, and that's because that's how the rabbi taught, and they believe, that the rabbi can't be wrong. It's an East versus West. I think Sephardim, for the most part, when it comes to dealing with Judaism, they're a bit primitive. And I'm not talking about the Rambam. I'm talking about Sephardim post Shabtai Tzvi. That's it.
Have you joined any of his lives? He goes live here on TikTok.
Yeah, no, but he doesn't let people on. I mean, he just does a monologue. I've been on there, and I've requested. He doesn't let people on because he knows. I mean, he knows. I'm not saying just because of me, but people will challenge him. And newcomers to Judaism are not, they don't know enough about Judaism to answer on the fly. So, I mean, he'll give something wrong, and it'll be recorded forever, and then whatever. Okay. Next. So I wanted to talk about this notion. It's interesting that we're talking about this dummy, but he's lately been throwing, him and Rabbi Mizrahi have been, and I call these guys rabbi. I call women rabbis, Reform rabbis, rabbi. That's their preferred pronoun, in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't mean that I believe that they merit the title, but fine, because they don't want to call me rabbi, even though, I have 3 smichas. Fine. They're throwing Manis Friedman under the bus because Manis Friedman's whole shtick is that God needs you. And you know what? I tend to believe, or I tend to agree more with Manis Friedman than these individuals, right? I'm not saying that there aren't opinions in Judaism that teach that God doesn't need you, right? Mainly the Rambam. But anyone who reads the Torah straight through could easily come to the conclusion that God needs you, right? But these guys think that because the Rambam happens to disagree, when their whole existence is contrary to the Rambam, because anyone who believes in the Zohar is contradicting the Rambam. If you believe in Tzimtzum, you're contradicting the Rambam, because according to the Rambam, God can't limit himself. He can't contract himself. If you believe in demons, you're contradicting the Rambam. Okay? And these guys believe in all that. But they pick and choose things just to weaponize it against other rabbis. But fine. The discrepancy in their argument is that they think if someone says that God needs you, that you're basically saying that God needs you in order to exist. That's not the argument. You have to ask them, do you believe God has any desires? Of course not, because the Rambam says that that's a limitation of God. Does the Torah teach that God has desires? Absolutely. Just like you need your kid to clean his room, God, like it says in Tanakh, he wants us to follow justice. I mean, it's in the Torah also. Tzedek Tirdof is in the Torah, right? He needs us. He wants us. He desires for us to keep commandments. He pleads with us to choose life, i.e. to live a life of Torah. Desiring something is needing something from someone else. It doesn't mean that you can't exist without that thing. But the truth is, we don't know what keeps God going, if he's limited or not. At least according to what the Torah says, they're speculating based on Aristotle and Plato, okay? But on that basis, they're going to claim to speak in behalf of Judaism and throw other Jews and Christians under the bus just because it doesn't fit the Rambam's understanding of Judaism. If that's not rabbi worship, I don't know what is, but one, yes, God needs you. God needs you to do the right thing. God needs you to be merciful and benevolent. He needs you to emulate him for whatever reason. Does that mean he can't exist without that? I don't know, but that doesn't mean that specifically. Okay, I hate these theological gatekeepers. They make Judaism look stupid because we're going to turn anyone away who would possibly come to Judaism or to the God of Israel, because the God of Israel, at least in the Torah, shows human emotion. He loves, he hates, he misses people. I mean, anyone who reads the prophet straight through shows that God is an emotional God. Oh, that's a limitation of God. Yes, you're saying that at the expense of Judaism and at the expense of anyone possibly ever coming to Judaism ever again, because who would want to follow a God that's not relatable? These people are so stupid. I mean, it's just, they don't understand how they hurt our religion. But anyways. Right. All right. Someone wrote there, need or contingent. That's true. They don't let Manny Freeman explain what he means. Okay. Yes, God needs us. He needs us to do certain things. Does he exist or can he exist if we don't do that thing? That's not what the argument is. Okay. The truth be told, that we don't know what causes God to exist or what batteries he uses to keep on going. We don't know any of that. Everything is speculation. All right. Was that too emotional for you, Courtney?
No, it's good. Send it.
All right. Send what? You work in a warehouse? Welcome, imhabo_B.
Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to ask about Genesis 6:6, chapter 6, verse 6,
Okay.
where I don't remember it, but God regrets creating humans. And I would like to know the meaning of that verse.
You mean men? But you said women? I mean, I can't blame God for that. But you mean God regrets creating men, and this is why he brings in the flood, right?
Yeah, that's what the verse says.
And that's what the Bible says. So it's interesting how people who claim that God is not limited in any way also claim that there's no way that we could understand the complexity of God, of who he is and who he isn't. But at the same time, they're going to build the theological walls of do's and don'ts that you can't try to hurdle without getting kicked out of Judaism. So they're the ones speaking in behalf of God. They've chosen to philosophically dissect God from an authoritative perspective instead of saying that we don't know. There's parts in the Torah that says that God regretted making man, and there's another part that said that he knows everything. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that we shouldn't make definitive judgments on that area, in that area, on that subject regarding God. Oh no, but they know better. No, this is a dishonesty, and it's silly. What's silly is not that they're saying this, is that they have an audience that as you're speaking, they're just embellishing this rabbi's existence. You're so great, you're so smart. And honestly, I mean, it's probably the stupidest argument I ever heard. I mean, it's primitive. It's primitive and it's dishonest to the God that appears in the Torah. That means you could call that God, but you would have to acknowledge that it's not the same God that appears in the Torah. Okay? Because the God that appears in the Torah is described many different ways, and limited is one of those ways if you're going to use the criteria of Aristotle and Plato. That's it.
I haven't really understood, isn't the Genesis part of the Torah?
Yeah. Well, so the Torah, in particular, are the commandments within the Torah. The narrative in the Torah is not really considered the law. But yes, colloquially nowadays, what's understood is that the 5 books of Moses is the Torah. But no, Moses wasn't given 5 books on Mount Sinai.
So you don't have an explanation for the verse?
I mean, I just did. I mean, believe it.
You talk with words really hard for me, to be honest. Can you do it more simple?
Okay. If the Torah says it, then believe it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right,
Have a good day.
No problem. Thank you.
I think you wanted more of the theological answers, such as God lamented or
no. Here, look. I've heard many different explanations for it. I mean, Dennis Prager has great explanations in his Rational Bible to a lot of this stuff. However, they're asking me for a definitive response. What's the answer? Tell us, Rabbi. That's not the job of a rabbi to give you a definitive answer. He's there. I mean, if he's worth his weight in beer, he's there to explain it from its most literal perspective. Okay, I can tell you what I think it means, right? but it would just be my opinion. Things that don't, things that aren't clear are not worth making sense of from an authoritative perspective, especially in the Bible. If it's not clear, just skip it. That's what God said. God said that the secret things are for God and only what's revealed is for us. Meaning there's things that boggles our mind. I could have a devotional interpretation that I fully believe, and you too could, Courtney, and I'm sure you do. But what you can do is thrust that on somebody else and say, if you don't disagree, or if you don't agree with my interpretation, you're wrong and you're not welcome in my synagogue and you're going to hell. And this is what all religions do, from Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Okay, yeah. So we're trying to keep it real here. And this is my only advantage to debating. Like I said, I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the world. I have a yeshiva education, but yeah, there's rabbis who know a lot more than I do. The difference is that I'm painfully honest, okay? And I'm not trying to be liked. I'm not trying to fit in. I'm trying to give you accurate information. Because then I don't want you coming back saying, why'd you lie to me? Okay, oh, well, because, I won't be given honors in the synagogue. I won't, whatever. They won't give me an aliyah. I won't find a husband for my daughter to marry. The typical excuses. Okay. Yeah, but how can I say this religion is better? So yeah, no, but a simple fact that we have the notion of optional belief, that we're willing to hear other people out. I'm not saying most Jews do this. I mean, I'm speaking in the royal we, whatever. And then, from that perspective, at least Judaism has the ability to do that. This makes it better than these other belief systems. That's it. Asher, how do you stay silent at Chabad? I stay silent in every synagogue I go to. Whoever's house I eat over for Shabbos, I don't give over my ideas. All right. I did once. I don't know. I was eating this Breslover guy in Denver. And he kicked me out of his house during the Shabbos meal. I mean, I couldn't even bench. And I'm like, it's Shabbos. What do you want me to do? And I'm just telling you, I mean, I know when to talk. However, someone's in my house, which I used to have huge Shabbos meals in my house, then you're going to listen because you're drinking my beer and eating my food. All right, but apart from that, yeah, I mean, I stay pretty quiet. All right, let's see. Just like Moses wasn't allowed into the promised land, okay, you cannot.
I think people are shocked that you can keep your mouth closed.
What does that mean? Look at that, huh?
No, I'm just saying people are used to hearing you talk. That's why I think they asked.
I mean, TikTok, you can have a lot of dead air or dead whatever, silence, or then people go elsewhere. So I have to keep the ball rolling. And mind you, I'm an introvert. I prefer to be huddled in a corner with a 40-ounce of beer and a book. But I've trained myself to be sort of extroverted just to get the message across, just because there aren't too many people doing this. I mean, I told people, because people are like, don't go to India, don't convert people, this and that. I'm like, look, I promise I won't go if you would go instead. Just some rabbi do it. No rabbi is willing to do it. So I'm like, all right, damn it, I'll do it. All right. That's my approach to all this stuff. If there was someone more articulate, better looking, which, I mean, that's hard to even imagine, then I would step aside, honestly. I mean, I got more important. Look, I have a garage full of motorcycles that I haven't even started to work on. Right. I mean, I buy crash motorcycles and I fix them for fun and I give them away to my friends. All right. I have enough to do. I mean, trust me, this is a labor of love, or whatever.
So there was this crazy rabbi that I spoke to once, and he said, religious people don't need to just constantly talk religion all day, that they should have a hobby. Get a hobby, he says, on his Sunday night shows. I think his name is Rabbi Asher.
That's me, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't put all your spiritual apples in the same basket, right? Because when you get let down, what are you going to fall back on? So have hobbies, be normal. It says, I mean, there's a medrash in the Talmud that says that when you die, that one of the first things that God's going to ask you is to give an account for every permissible pleasure that you denied yourself. All right, permissible, guys, permissible. I already see people, yeah. And there's a lot of things that you're allowed to do, right? So enjoy yourself. Yeah, have fun. We're here to have fun, right? That's it. And yeah. We're not here to learn yeshiva all day long and be miserable. And in those cases, it's your family that suffers. I mean, just have a good time, I mean, yeah. That's what's up. Like someone says no. Oh, what? They love it. They love what? Yeah. Okay, fine. Someone has to learn how did you become a rabbi? No, I'll tell you. So when I was learning in Israel, I needed to support myself. So then I took a job doing outreach in Hebrew University, right? I mean, I took courses. I mean, I was in Aish and I was in Rosameach and many different whatever. And I even took a smicha course in this like yeshiva in Sfat. And then the guy who hired me, I like to do outreach. Most rabbis or knowledgeable people in Israel typically don't get the title rabbi unless they're leading a community or they're working for the rabbinut. But the average person walking down the street of Jerusalem knows more than the average rabbi in America. People get smicha when they're going to come to America because they have to like get a job as a rabbi. So, I mean, it wasn't really important to me, but I knew my stuff back then also, and I was making videos back then as well. So then I told the person who hired me, I'm like, fine, I'll work for you, but give me smicha. So, okay. So they wrote me smicha. That's one. When I came to America, well, I started working in a synagogue in Young Israel of Richmond, Virginia. So then the guy that wanted me to be like help run other classes and the Shabbos meals, and I'm like, fine. So I learned with him a little bit, and then I said, well, can your organization give me smicha? And they're like, sure. So they gave me smicha as well, and I became the assistant rabbi of Young Israel of Richmond. I have another smicha, but I don't even mention that because I don't want people calling him saying, like, why'd you give Asher smicha? Because everybody has called Jeff Sedell and called Rabbi Kalikowski on why they gave me smicha. So that's it. I mean, do I have the title? Yes, I have the title. I mean, that's how I got it. Okay. Most yeshiva programs don't have a smicha program. They'll typically teach you for smicha, and they'll take you to, back then it was the head of Eidach HaHaredis, Rabbi Nehemiah Goldberg, to give you smicha. I mean, it's not, and most people in Israel get smicha from the same guy, and it's a smicha test you could take home. So it's not, I mean, my smicha test, or my smicha, I think is more valuable because the person actually knew me and knew what I actually know. But the average person takes their smicha test home and they do, like, they fill it out with their havrusa. There.
For Jew page is here again asking questions.
He's saying no, you're wrong, and that's a lie, and yada yada yada.
All right.
Takes 7 years. She said takes 7 years to get smicha.
That's not true. It takes a year and a half to get smicha, by the way. I mean, it's not the smicha I have, but you guys can look this up. Smicha and Isser v'Heter takes a year and a half. Smicha and Shabbos takes 2 years. Smicha and Nida takes 2 years. These guys don't know anything. And then they'll say, Asher says, or Asher will never say who gave him smicha. I've always said it. Asher will never say who converted him. I always said it. Rabbi Lehrfeld converted me. I don't hide anything, but they misrepresent me. And then, they're saying, oh, well, there's an issue with Asher smicha. It's like, oh my God, it's so silly. I'm like the most approachable open book in the world. Okay. But it's interesting how they try to destroy me on that. They try to defame me because they can't debate me. I know my stuff. Okay. I know my stuff. At least the topics that I teach on. Okay, well, if you want me to give a class on shotness, I mean, bring somebody else.
I don't know. What I find weird is it's almost slightly bipolar to be in the chat saying horrible things, but when you're up here live, you don't say these things. It doesn't make sense. Come up.
Oh, wait. Is this the same girl who was here?
Word.
Yes.
Same girl.
Oh, my gosh. No, this girl's schizophrenic. There's no way that she's talking about me like this, and I just had her on the show for half an hour. All right, whatever. It doesn't matter. Guys, let's see. And I said to myself, I'm just going to be here for 1 hour because I have a bunch of things to do, but TikTok is so darn addicting. I don't seek power. I do seek influence. And this show is somewhat influential. Anyway, it's fine.
Thanks, girl. Sorry, I just seen someone comment.
Hey, let's bring some haters. Oh, wait a minute. Do I know this person?
Hi again.
Привет, товарищ. Как дела?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, welcome.
What language is that?
Russian.
Oh. Okay, so what organization gave you your smicha?
So most Orthodox rabbis don't have smicha from an organization. Okay,
So then,
you would think. Wait,
then why
hold
did
on.
you say you?
No. That means the vast majority of Orthodox rabbis have personal smicha. That means a rabbi gave them smicha. If you learned in YU or Ner Yisrael, Hebrew Union College, Lahavdil, then you have institutional smicha. So yes, I mean I have smicha. I mean I don't have to repeat their names. You could go on my website because I don't want people calling people and they've already called them. Trust me, it's the
I'm
biggest
not gonna
burden for the
call
people.
anyone.
What? No, I'm not
I'm
saying
not
you.
gonna
This is being
call them.
recorded, and all this goes on YouTube, by the way. So everything you said is going to be posted on my channel on YouTube. Just look me up, Asher Meza. Everything I speak here gets transferred to YouTube. So just be careful what you say if you don't want it posted out there.
Okay.
I don't mind you saying crazy stuff. I mean, that actually gives me more of a following, right? I mean, people like seeing the train wreck.
It gives you more clout. If you have someone who's being crazy and bipolar and schizophrenic, then you'll get a lot more clout, won't you?
So you're doing me a favor. I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, they don't know that I paid you in bud.
Maybe you did pay me.
You know, but you smoked all the weed before you came on the show. You had to start smoking afterwards.
What? Okay.
Because I paid you in weed. All right, never mind. Okay, fine.
The joke. I don't think she got the joke.
Yeah, never mind.
I just laughed. You just can't hear me for some reason.
Okay, ask your question. Go ahead.
I mean, I asked the question. He wouldn't answer, so
He was
I guess.
answering.
Hey, what's up?
Who gave you your smicha?
Okay, I'm not going to repeat it again.
Yeah.
All right, welcome.
You never said it.
My name is Robert.
Oh, okay.
Can I get a poll? Can I get a poll in the chat? Did Asher say who gave him smicha? Yes or no?
Go ahead.
I'll give you one. The Rabbi Kolakowski.
Rabbi who?
Kolakowski. Yeah, I mean he's from upstate New York, from South Fallsburg area.
Interesting. I never heard of him.
Okay, fine. I mean, I guarantee that you haven't heard of the vast majority of rabbis that exist on this planet.
Hey, I live north of Montreal.
Okay, welcome. I mean, you're not going to show your penis too, are you? Because we can't have that twice in one show. I mean, they're really going to take it down.
Actually, I'm Jewish and I live in Quebec.
But so it's going to be a circumcised penis.
That's a big question to ask.
Is it such a problem that I never heard of who that person was?
I mean, so because you didn't hear of it,
I'm not arguing. I just asked who it was.
And he says it all the time, and you can easily look him up. It's not a secret.
Why? What's wrong with me asking?
Because it's rude. You wouldn't ask that to your rabbi.
Not only that, but
I actually would.
But he answered. I guess the thing is, it seems very, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it seems very weird. He's answered the question, and yet you're still pressing him. If you don't like him, I guess just admit that.
Right,
guys.
Don't. I mean, I feel cringy when people have to defend me. But anyways, I mean, someone that made a good point.
We're not defending you. We're just here for the drama.
Or, you know.
I'm just kidding.
So someone says, right, Asher has smicha, but Acher also had smicha. So it's true. Elisha ben Abuya had smicha. I mean, you could have smicha and be a jerk. You know, I mean, who's the guy who put the cameras in the mikvah? Rabbi Frendel, right? So it's.
There are also a lot of messed up rabbis who have smicha and have shown their true colors. So, I mean, it says nothing.
And like a mosquito in a mikvah, I don't know where to begin. All right. Next. Oh, welcome, Rena. Hi.
What, you just noticed it's me?
No, I mean, I was in shock that you were defending me, so I was kind of like, flattered. Thank you.
Don't tell anyone.
Well, yeah, okay. I'm curious, where do you live, Jew Page?
I do not want to say on live.
Yeah, but you're in New York, right?
I am not going to tell you where I live because that's unsafe.
It's true. Well, I mean, there's, I think, over 1 million Jews in New York. Thank you. It doesn't matter. Fine. Anyways, I like the dialogue, by the way. I mean, it keeps me, people learn the most when they hear people talk. When someone's on TikTok and religious and only gives over a monologue, it's like, I mean, they pay you for that. I mean, they don't pay me for this, but if you guys want to send me money, go ahead. But yeah.
Just put your email up.
I'll send you 1 coin.
Like a shekel.
Because you're not doing this for money, right?
I'm not doing this for money, but for influence. I mean, I do feel that I'm making the world a better place. I want someone to come up to me when I'm 80 years old. I don't know. I mean, someone's dragging me across the kotel, and they're like, "Hey, I'm here because you convinced my grandfather to consider becoming Jewish, and now we have a whole dynasty." Yeah, I mean, I want that type of kavod.
Why don't you start a new movement?
No, because then it wouldn't be Judaism.
Why not?
He did start a new movement.
Different movements in Judaism.
He did start a new movement.
New. I mean, I believe that Chazal used to proselytize. I mean, I'm convinced of that. Not going door to door saying you have to become Jewish, but I think that, I mean, there's a story of Hillel, right? What's the only story in the Talmud that talks about converts and how to deal with converts, right? There's a story of someone who comes to convert under false pretenses. So Shammai hits him on the head, and Hillel.
I'm on live.
What?
You're live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only voice though. My husband just walked in.
Okay. So in all those instances, Hillel, the Gadol Hador, took time to learn with the convert, right, and converted them. It says miyad, like he converts them right away, and then he teaches them. He converts them, and he comes on false pretenses. He says, convert me on the basis that I don't believe in Torah Sheba'al Peh. Convert me on the basis that I learned all of Torah, learned like standing on one foot, and convert me on the basis that you're going to make me the Kohen Gadol. In all those instances, the greatest rabbi of his generation took the time to learn with the convert. Right?
Okay, have you heard this?
What?
Sorry, I'm talking to him. I just want my husband to listen.
Yeah, but you've heard of this, right?
She needs validity. She needs validity that you're saying the truth.
I mean, it's in Masechet Shabbat, I believe.
I'm just asking my husband to listen. I can just leave if it's such a problem.
No.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I need you here. I mean, I need an adversary. So, so it shows how great converts, Hillel didn't push him away. I mean, Hillel didn't tell him, like, remain a ben or bat noach, which is what people tell converts nowadays. People who are interested in conversion, the average Chabad rabbi will tell them, why would you ever want to become Jewish when you could remain a Noahide? Do you know how stupid that makes our religion sound, right? It's not any better than a system that limits you to 7 laws. It's not any better, Now, you could say, look, you're a Noahide regardless, right? Either keep the 7 Noahide laws or convert to Judaism, right? But to push people away is idiotic, in my opinion. Okay? Idiotic.
I don't agree.
Why?
Because first of all, the whole idea of Jewish people is that they're supposed to be this light in the world, which means that not everyone's meant to be Jewish. So why are we trying to go to everyone and convert them? If they can just keep 7 laws, why would someone want to have the responsibility? It's kind of like the government versus like...
That sounds a bit like making everybody else a second-class citizen.
Yeah, no, but not just that. But you're saying that you can't have cops unless you have robbers. So thank God for robbers.
That's
right.
Not a comparison.
Wait,
well, you're saying that our job is to be a light. If we have no one to be a light to, then existence doesn't make any sense.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is people who are Jewish have this responsibility. It doesn't make them more important. It doesn't make them better. It's just what their mission in life is. Everyone has a different mission. Some people are meant to be other religions, and that's not necessarily worse or better.
Okay. So is it a good idea for non-Jewish women to dress modestly?
I mean, that depends.
Idea. Yes, it's a good idea.
Okay, but it's not one of the 7 laws, by the way.
It's not one of the 7 ideas, but it is a good idea.
Okay, all right. Is it a good idea to practice kivud avayim, like for kids to honor their parents?
Depends.
A good idea, of course.
Depends.
What do you mean it depends?
Girl,
Kids,
stand by.
the
He's
world,
about to go. Stand
the
by.
world
Asher's about to
wouldn't, the
convert your
world,
husband.
Let's say, well, I mean,
the
like,
world.
okay, you're
Wait, the
trying to
world
say
wouldn't.
because these laws are so good, it means that
The
everyone should
world
have
will
this
be a better
responsibility to do it.
place.
Not
No,
necessarily.
not. Yes, the world would be a better place if more people kept Jewish laws
If
and
God
values and
wanted
ethics.
everyone to be Jewish,
It
we
would
would
be a
all be
good
Jewish.
idea.
But would you rather people make up and spew all these lies and misinformation, or teach them the correct meaning of Judaism? You tell.
What lies?
Israel, Palestine, or that we drink
What does
blood.
that
No,
have to
not
do
even Israel
with
Palestine,
Judaism?
or that, or
Wait, go back 2 steps.
Yeah, go back 2 steps for a second.
There are Palestinians in the Israeli government.
No. The
That's a
Israel-Palestine lie that Israel is an apartheid state, that we drink blood, that the protocols of the elders of Zion, that we control the world. These are bad ideas that
no, not even those ideas, or the way that people talk about us and how they're so misinformed on the Jewish people as a whole. I'm not talking about Israel Palestine. I'm talking about things that people have heard about Jews and continually for the last 2 centuries
And
believe these lies. If we would
okay,
teach them Judaism in the correct way and show them what it really means to be a Jew, that it's there's nothing wrong with teaching Judaism and showing people what Judaism really is. Nowhere in the Torah does
I
it
think
say
that's
that we
great.
shouldn't educate. And if they decide that they would rather be a part of the Jewish people than to be a part of other religions because of all of the ethics and values that Judaism has in it, then good for them. The world will be a better place if we had more Jews.
Wait. So it's just wrong to announce it.
Announce
What?
what?
That's
no.
not what I was
I
arguing.
don't even understand.
Okay, what does wait, hold up. What does I'm a little off track here. What does 1 second.
All right. That was beautiful, Rena, by the way. I mean, it was very great. It's very nice.
What
Very
does
nice.
Jews educating others have to do with everyone should be Jewish?
Okay, so I don't believe everybody
When
should
you
be Jewish.
no, you mistook my comment. When you educate people, the problem with the world now is that they don't know enough about Judaism because we are so closed and we don't spread information. We don't teach who we really are. That's why people think we're evil.
Right.
That's why
So
people think we control the world. That's why they don't
That's
know.
not the
So when
reason.
you educate
do
them,
you
when you educate them and you teach them what Judaism is really about, and they say, "Oh wow, this religion is beautiful," and then they decide to convert, what's wrong with that?
that's what Asher's doing.
Nothing.
That's
I don't think that's really what he's doing. He's not
Yes, it
just
is
showing what he
actually.
does. He's
It is.
telling people that they should convert before telling them what it really is.
Well, no one's going to convert them without them knowing something about Judaism, okay?
Not true.
You know, well, the reason I posted on top is because the average Muslim who comes on here doesn't even know it's possible to convert. So you have people who converted to Islam who probably would have made good Jews, but they didn't know it was possible. So most Jews lie by omission. They just don't say it, right? When like people say Judaism is an ethno religion, right? They just stay quiet. No, but they can say it's partially ethnic, right? But there is a component made up of people who are non-Hebrews, non-Jews who could become Jews. That's it. You know, it's just having an open door policy. I don't want everybody to become Jewish, but I think that if someone's serious about God and is sincere and it's going to add luster to our people, then for sure convert, right? And especially if you're a woman, whatever. You know what I mean? For all the single guys out there.
So my thing is I think it's funny because I feel like she just admitted that Jews are not doing what they should to be a light to the nations, but stay out. We don't want you.
I think that it's a great idea for us to educate people. I just think that's separate than actively saying you should convert.
I don't know what the difference is. You know, I don't know.
Hey, this is what I do. And obviously, if someone likes what you're doing and wants to live that life, they'll say, hey, how can I join? You don't necessarily have to say, well, you can convert. You should convert without them really understanding what's going on.
It's a problem people picking and choosing what they want to keep in the Word of God. Because you're basically saying, okay, if you like Shabbos, keep that. But if you want to dishonor your parents, do that. If you don't want to take care of the widow, the orphan, the stranger, do that also. No, In the Chumash, there's only one way to please God. And I'm not talking about Torah Shabbat Peh. I understand the rabbis teach that if you keep the 7 Noahide laws, you're righteous. That's hard for me to believe that anyone could be considered righteous in this planet by only keeping 7 laws. But whatever. It seems that from a Torah perspective, there's only one way to please God. And that's by keeping his commandments. That's it. There's no notion of a righteous Gentile in the Torah. What?
So you don't believe in the Torah?
No, I do believe in the Torah. What are you talking about? No, I believe in it so much that because God didn't state there was another standard, why should we state it to Gentiles who are looking for ethics in their life? Right? I mean, so we have a principle in Judaism, Safek de Rabbanan lehakel and Safek de Raita lechumra, that if you have a safek, like a question on something from the rabbis, you're commanded to be lenient. If you have a question on something from the Torah, you're commanded to be strict. If you're going to ask, what's God's will for my life, right? You have to be strict and assume that he wants you to keep what appears in the Torah, because you're not going to bring rabbinic thought into it. Because nowhere in the Torah does it mention 7 laws of Noah for Gentiles. It just doesn't mention it. It mentions the notion of a ger toshav, whatever that happens to be. It says you're allowed to give him nevela, like an animal that dies on its own. That's all it says. But nowadays, we have people who want to follow Torah, and rabbis are saying, no, remain a Noahide. It makes absolutely no sense. If someone is serious about it, let them convert. Okay? If they're not, by definition, you're a Noahide. Okay? Keep the 7 Noahide laws. The Noahide laws are there to separate you from the animal, but it's not the highest that someone should aspire to become. If your child wants to enter the medical field, you're going to encourage him to be a doctor. He can't make it, be a doctor's assistant, right? Obviously.
That's not a good comparison. You can't compare becoming a doctor to spiritual elevation.
Ethical elevation. Forget about spirituality.
Why? Would you not
to
say those
be-
statements and then explain it? Like say it and then like explain why you believe that, please.
What are you asking?
You said you can't compare it to being a doctor, but then you leave that like an open-ended statement. Like explain why you believe that.
Well, if you're going to say this is going to make... Okay. When you become a doctor, there's specific exams you take. There's a specific way of doing that, right? When you say be a moral person, what does that mean? It's not as clear of an answer as like becoming a doctor. It's based off of science, which is much easier to understand and test for.
Not being an ethical person, but converting to Judaism. There's tests that many rabbis will give you before you convert, or they'll ask you questions for sure. It's still a procedure you have to go through. Doctors have to go through 8 years of college or whatever, right? And you have to go through a conversion program. Still, shoot higher. That's the point. Shoot higher. Try to go to the highest level you could. And if you can't make it, then fall back on whatever. But I think the average person who wants to convert will convert. If whatever. They don't have to deal with too much crap. I think you agree with me. Look, you have to be taught otherwise. There's many areas in your life that you teach that what's good for you is good for others. Absolutely. Jews are masters of marketing. Okay, we just don't market Judaism. I don't know why, when Judaism doesn't prohibit it.
What? Wait, hold up. Why are Jews masters at marketing specifically?
Why do you think? I mean, honestly,
because we
value
value education and we value parnasa. I'm not gonna say it in English, but we do value these things.
We've peddled every vile movement out there. Okay, that when we want an idea to get out, it gets out. From communism, feminism, liberalism, wokeism. These are all essentially secular Jewish movements. Okay, it's nothing new. When Jews believe in spreading their ideas, they just don't believe in spreading Judaism. And that didn't come from Orthodoxy. It came from secular Jews, which in some way diminished how they feel as Jewish, because if being Jewish means that you have to believe and do something. If that's what distinguishes a Gentile from a Jew, which is what conversion teaches, then it means that they're not truly Jewish. I mean, this is the average person who has a sentiment that Jews accept all people. It's not Orthodox. Or whatever. I'm sure someone's listening. It's not Orthodox, because the halakha is that if a Gentile breaks any one of the 7 Noahide laws, he's executed. That's the halakha. That's nothing to aspire to. Okay? You aspire to keep Torah. This idea like, no, we accept anyone. It's not true. Even regarding Noahides, it's Noahides who believe in the Noahide system because it came through Moshe Rabbeinu. I mean, to some extent. And they're called the Chesidei Mot Olam. I mean, it's not any Gentile who happens to think he's doing a good job, to the point that almost every Orthodox Jew will teach you that a Christian is not a Christian doesn't keep the 7 Noahide laws. So what they're basically saying is that don't convert to Judaism, but if you're a Christian, you're not going to make it to heaven anyways. So there's no redemption for these people. There's no option for them. I mean, for sure, it's not Judaism because you're not willing to help them convert. It's not Noahidism because they don't fit your criteria of 7 laws. So they can't say that we believe all good people get to heaven. Anyways, the Noahide movement is a part of Judaism. So if someone promotes the Noahide movement, they are proselytizing to a certain extent. Oh boy. Okay.
So there is a Jewish guy on TikTok. He actually is in marketing. Anyways, he was explaining how it is that the
That's racist. He's got to be in marketing because he's Jewish.
No, that's what he said.
I bet.
Anyways, he was explaining why it is that. Yeah, I know. Hold on, I just read a comment. It's income, right? So the point that I'm getting at is that typically Jews help other Jews. One, because Jews purchase from Jews, which is known to be kosher, etc. You rarely will
Correct.
see a Jew. Okay, so he was saying, excuse me, he was mentioning. He's like, listen, I know there's this perception that Jews are wealthy and Jews this and Jews that. He's like, let me show you right now how we do this. And so he walked through, I think it was like a 4-step process in like it was at the time when TikTok allowed 10-minute videos. And he said, we donate to people in our community. We support people in our community. We cycle the money back in. So if I'm looking for a lawyer, I'm going to go to a Jewish lawyer. If I'm looking for a doctor, I'm going to go to a Jewish doctor, etc.
I have opinions on that. I think.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's how the idea of Jewish income and money comes into play, because they cater to their own. They keep it within the community. And I don't think that's a bad thing per se, but I'm saying that's where the idea comes from. And he just broke it down and explained it.
Well, we cater to outside too. Whatever business is striving, we're jumping on it. I'm a Jewish accountant. Call me.
Jews, can't make as much money buying from Jews as they could buying from Gentiles. The Jews don't like doing business with other Jews, at least in the Sephardi world. Okay, and I'm part of this, unfortunately, Sephardi world. My whole community is Sephardi here. Because they know that in terms of buying stuff, it's like making money in Israel. It's like impossible to make money in Israel. But they say, like, how do you make a small fortune in Israel? Like, bring a big fortune. Because it's like, it's hard to get insurance because every Jew is whatever. I'm too honest. All right, go ahead, Bu Knazu.
Hey, Courtney.
Hi.
Hey.
So thank you, Courtney, because I didn't know what was different between Torah observant or Jewish, but I'm pretty sure I think I do. So who can verify that they're actually Jewish? Like, how do you do that? Like, if somebody says, "Well, I identify as a Jew," like, how do you say you're not?
If you're a part of a community, you would know what part of community you are. If you are affiliated with a shul,
if I live in Muncie, New York, that's a Hasidic Jewish community. That doesn't make me Jewish. So
if you're affiliated with what they do, so you have to understand, communities have stayed together in other countries and when they came to America, so they all know each other, like, in a way. But so they technically, within the community, they technically know who's Jewish and who isn't.
All right, hold on.
But that's not the Torah, the Mosaic Law, where the lineage is counted.
Hold on.
No, it's not. But Asher,
there's the foolproof way to know if you're Jewish. If you converted, okay. If you converted and you have a piece of paper, like a star, whatever you want to call it, and it has 3 rabbis' names or Jews' names that says, "I witnessed this person going to the mikveh," that's more proof of somebody being Jewish than someone who has a prestigious yichus or pedigree going all the way back to Moses. Okay, I'm just telling you, that's the easiest way to know if you convert.
So how do we know that those 3 Jews that approved, the rabbis approved of somebody being Jewish or denied being Jewish, knowing that they're actually Jewish?
You don't.
First of all, okay.
I think his question is, how do you know Jews that say they're Jews are really Jews?
Yeah,
I have my parents' ketubah, so that's it, and I have my own ketubah.
Yeah, I could bring a piece of paper saying, Rabbi this, Rabbi that, and Rabbi that, and then am I automatically in the Jewish synagogue? I'm just asking.
I'll tell you, like, from a biblical perspective, being Jewish means nothing. it's being in a covenant with God. How did the Israelites on Mount Sinai and the mixed multitude know they were in a covenant with God? A covenant is an agreement. They made an agreement to keep God's law as a people. That's how you know that you're Jewish. Jewish doesn't mean anything, okay? I mean, from a biblical perspective, it just means that you're legally part of the nation of Israel, meaning that legally, if you broke the Sabbath in Israel, the court could execute you for it. That's it. You know,
so somebody in the comments said that rabbis can actually deny people from becoming proselytes. I'm just asking, like, how can somebody deny somebody being a proselyte? Or somebody says, well, I know I'm not Jewish, but I want to convert. And then they have how can they say yay or nay?
If the procedure requires witnesses, like most people teach that there has to be 3 witnesses that see you immerse, like someone could refuse to witness that. You know, so, I mean, who's going to testify that you're Jewish? I mean, that's the issue.
Yeah, but so it can be denied of just based off of somebody.
No, I'll convert you. I mean, I'll convert you for free. I do free conversions every month.
Well, I mean, I never knew it cost money, right?
Well, yeah, it's not cheap, but I don't charge, by the way. The first Sunday of every month, everybody, the first Sunday of every month, you're welcome to my house. There's going to be tons of food, tons of beer, and I'll take you out to the most kosher mikvah in the world. It's called the Ocean. And I'll do Hatafas Dam, and I'll marry you guys, and I'll do the whole thing absolutely for free. You have no excuse. The truth is, if you live in a Jewish community, just go to your local synagogue. Get the most recognized conversion out there. If you live in Iowa, or well, I guess there's a community there also, or Oklahoma or something, I'll convert you for free. I mean, if you really want to be halakhically...
what I'm saying is, how does the approval... Because Zechariah 8:23 says the whole world was supposed to grab onto a robe of a Jew because they heard that it would lead them to God. So what I'm interested in is, I'm just wondering how somebody can actually deny somebody who just wants to go and know about God.
All right.
Because somebody said that
complex people, and the Jewish people have problems like every other religion has problems. With the idea that only because some rabbis don't live up to the title, that in some way means we have a crack in the system. Yeah, we have many cracks in the system.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm just saying, how could somebody just say, no, I don't want you to be Jewish?
All right, so for the most part, converts and people who could prove their Jewishness are given citizenship in the land of Israel. That means if Rena wanted to move to Israel and she wasn't Israeli, I mean, she'd have to bring a ketubah, like a marriage document.
It's a marriage contract.
Yeah.
If I wasn't married, I would have to show my parents' marriage contract.
Right.
Right, but so contract can be forged.
But who cares? All right. I mean, now you're playing devil's advocate.
Well, no, I'm asking, but how did the Jews who occupied Israel know that they're actually Jewish?
Occupied?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they could occupy, for God.
Not an occupation.
Well, they occupy. Well, occupy in the sense that I've actually said it means that they have control of, the United States occupy the United States.
It became a country legally. It was an established country legally, just like Jordan or just like Pakistan. It became a legal country. It wasn't occupied. It wasn't just people coming in and taking over an entire country. That's not the way it worked.
So them becoming a country in the 1940s, does it mean anything, or were they always a country of Israel?
It was a secular initiative. Okay, it wasn't religious people establishing the state of Israel. Look at this. I mean, this is a sign. This is Hashkacha Pratis. God put.
Yeah, you need to shut it down.
I guess what I'm getting to is if the records of being Jewish that lead all the way to Adam were destroyed, how can anybody say they're Jewish?
There's no source that teaches that any records were destroyed.
And also, Jews didn't become Jewish since Adam. First of all, that's already wrong.
Right. Yeah.
So wait a minute. You're telling me that there's original records that goes all the way down to Moses' day?
No.
That survived the 70 AD annihilation from Rome?
So Tanakh itself is a record. So all you have to do is link your lineage to a rabbi that existed in the 2nd century, and he link his lineage to someone who appears in Tanakh, and then just go down the genealogy. So
those records are destroyed. Those records are destroyed.
Who told you they were destroyed? What are you talking about? Where does it say they were destroyed?
I've searched for them. I haven't found any records that go past Isaiah or down to Moses, like
my
the
God.
way there was in Jesus' day? That's what I'm asking.
In Jesus' day, where there weren't records of everybody didn't have, that walk around with a genealogy, because who really cares?
Absolutely, they were records because they were waiting
Okay,
for the
wait.
Messiah.
Think about it like this, right? After the Jews left the kingdom of Judea, or when they were exiled out, right? And think about it. There were no phones, there were no TikTok. They had no communication with each other once they spread across the world. These people have kept similar and almost the same traditions from all over the world, from all these different countries, and they've all kept the same traditions for all these years. So, I mean, yeah, they're Jewish.
But in Mosaic, Joshua's day, Moses' day, they all kept married who? What tribe of Levi?
I can't. I mean, the guy's. But he doesn't want to learn. There's no source that says that there were records that were destroyed in the Second Temple. It's a Christian argument. There's no source in the Talmud like this. There were
It's
no
not a
records
wrong
held in.
argument.
What?
Yeah.
It's not a wrong argument. It's actually one of my arguments.
Okay, so what's your source for that?
I can go pull it up. I'm sitting here right now.
Yeah, pull it up.
But yeah.
A source that records were kept in the temple, and when the temple was destroyed, those records were destroyed also.
Where was the Sanhedrin?
The Sanhedrin was on the top of the Temple Mount.
It was in the temple.
Okay, well, not in the temple. You know, it was called the Lishkat HaGazit. It was the room of hewn stones. It wasn't like the Mishkan. It wasn't. It was on top of the Temple Mount. Okay, go ahead.
So, how would so first of all, with regard to the Sanhedrin, their job would have been to crown the Mashiach. Yes, whether you believe in the Mashiach or not.
No. This notion that the Messiah had to come from the line of David wasn't something that the Sanhedrin even believed in. I mean, it was a midrash. I mean, this notion that they kept records because they were trying to coronate Mashiach, and it's not even a monolithic idea that Mashiach had to be from the line of David, right? I mean,
yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Absolutely, yes, it is. I totally disagree with you
All
completely.
right, back then, in the time of the Sanhedrin, it wasn't. I mean, Judaism didn't look like Judaism today. Nowhere, I mean, in the Talmud does it even talk about coronating some Messiah, or it was even the job of the Sanhedrin to do it. First of all, the Sanhedrin back then had no power, right? I mean, they couldn't put people to death. Like Rome clipped their powers. And even the halachas were ambiguous because you had two schools. You had Hillel and Shammai, and everyone did like basically with the way they saw fit. With this idea that, again, you need proof that there were some records kept somewhere, and it doesn't appear in the Talmud.
Where do you think the New Testament got the whether you believe in it or not? Where do you think it got the genealogy from?
The genealogy of Jesus?
Of Yeshua, yeah.
I don't know.
So
I mean, the burden of proof is you guys, right? Because there's two genealogies that contradict each other.
No, they don't. One is Mary's, one is Joseph's.
According to the Catholic Church, because it doesn't say it's Mary's genealogy in Luke.
No, it's not. That's the modern day scholars. I disagree with that.
I don't care what these modern day scholars. I mean, you know how I feel by the title scholar. I mean, these guys don't know. Come on. I mean,
that's my
Christians,
point. I disagree with them. Mary's genealogy is in. Okay. Well, either way, that's
Okay.
So one, they would have had the Tanakh. Where did the scribes keep the scrolls?
Where did the scribes keep the scrolls? I mean, they kept it where they would keep the rice. I mean, you want a little response
to keep it from being wet. You're talking about that moist.
No, well, because in halacha or like in I'm sure you've heard me say this. The notion of divinely inspired text in Judaism is sforim that are mitamei yadayim, like books that would impurify your hands. But the reason they would impurify your hands is because they would keep it where they would keep food, and then mice nibble on cloth, on like the paper that the scrolls are written in is edible, and a mouse has a status of a sharetz, like the most impure animal. So then we assume because they were kept in a certain place, they were books that the sages put aside as books worthy of studying. And this is why they're called books that are mitamei yadayim, books that impurify your hands. I mean, I'm giving you a little response to your question, but I don't know what you're getting at.
Sorry, I'm like, hold on. Now I got to address.
Most people don't teach this topic, so everybody thinks that what I'm saying sounds weird, but this is how it appears in the Talmud. Okay, because I don't teach that Jews view Tanakh as the word of God. I mean, the Torah, yes, but the prophets are just Nevi'im there to point you back to the Torah. Nothing new. But anyways, long story short, there's no source in rabbinic literature that says that in the temple there were books of genealogies, especially for every Israelite. I mean, like that would even matter because they were trying to coronate some Messiah. The notion of the Messiah is really a much, much later idea. There were some people who believed in it, right? And some people who didn't waste their time about it. But people pretty much knew what tribe they belonged to, which would have been enough, right? Because the notion that it had to be from the king, from the line of David, I don't even think it's set in stone. Because the Rambam doesn't say, he doesn't say it. Well, there's two opinions there's three opinions. There's Judah, that it's either from Judah. There's another one that says that it has to be from David, and another one says that it has to be from Solomon, and specifically, David's son. Because the Rambam in Mishnah Torah doesn't say it's Solomon. He only says David. But in his Parashah Mishnayot, he says Solomon. So there's no monolithic idea on the Messiah. Okay, so
we just don't know.
Right.
There's many different theories. We just don't know. We'll know when he comes. That's all. If he does in our lifetime.
Or she.
Stop it.
Okay.
Or they.
Okay.
No, it depends on the pronoun.
Oh my God.
Maybe I'm the Messiah.
Maybe I joined at the wrong time.
The Messiah.
Oh, no,
I don't know.
Reuven, what are you saying? I'm not trying to make it about us, but Reuven's saying the burden of proof is on us. Reuven says this when I think he doesn't have a response.
Hey, look, we're the first person to ever come up with this notion that they were books. There's a commentator. Well, his last name is Lightfoot. Who was a British commentator. Because I researched this in the past, that he wrote a commentary to some rabbinic literature, and he first quoted this idea by himself, that in the temple there were scrolls of genealogies for all the Israelites, which is, but they need a reason to do that. There's no reason for that. Okay, people had what's called a chazaka, like they knew, their uncle, this and that. There's an understanding that becomes legal if there's enough people vouching for it. So that's it. It's not. Anyways,
that's true.
It doesn't matter. Okay, now the Messiah can be female. Shows a lot. Okay, no, the Messiah can be female, obviously. Just because the king can be a female. And the notion of the Messiah, as it's understood, is that he is a king of Israel. It's true. If the queen had, she'd be a king, but she doesn't. So fine. Okay, I'm saying there's no. Okay, fine. Anyways, I'm not anti-Jesus. I don't believe he's God or the Messiah, but I like Jesus. I think he's a good guy.
He's a fellow Jew.
There we go. That's it. What is it? Who was it? It was a Lubavitch Rebbe who said that we shouldn't speak Lashon Hara on Jesus because he did tshuva. Why? Because he even acknowledged that Christianity, the Rambam acknowledges that Christianity had a part in civilizing our world, not in those words, but in some way bringing the world more conscious of Yemot HaMashiach, like the Messianic age one day. So I don't talk bad about Jesus. Paul, now that's something else. I think he's hurt Christians more than helping them. It's just there's many people who, I'm not disagreeing with Courtney. Perhaps Paul wanted people to be more Torah observant, but his statements are a bit ambiguous in some places, and there's many educated theologians out there who properly teach that one doesn't have to keep laws.
Okay, really fast. So, Reuven, I'll talk to you later about it because you keep getting me derailed here. I'm trying to talk to both of you. So if your words, everything that you said today was written down in a book and you did not have the opportunity to defend yourself when someone comes against you saying, oh, he sounds like a Christian,
right?
Can you not carry that same energy over when reading Paul's words?
Yeah, I agree with you, but we still have to acknowledge that his existence, all these extra books, hurt more than they help. It means Christianity probably would have been more concise if you would have limited to the Gospels, right? I'm not saying that Paul intentionally was trying to make things worse, but I think less is more. When you have more words, you have more ideas that could be misconstrued, right? Especially if you have more words that you consider divinely inspired. Because if Paul was just commentary, then you could disagree with Paul. But can you disagree with Paul, Courtney, on anything?
Oh yeah, I disagree with Paul. There's no problem with that.
You believe that Paul is divinely inspired?
I do believe that some of the things he says is divinely inspired. Here's where Paul makes a distinction within his own writings. He says, this is coming from me, not from the Lord. So, like, given his own hashkafa, so to speak, and he makes it very clear. But
oh, wait. Well, so you're saying that there's parts of the New Testament that are not divinely inspired?
No, I believe the New Testament is, I call this inspired commentary. I say this all the time.
Come on. You can't do that. Okay.
Yes, I do.
So,
bro, I've been saying that for years.
There's parts of the New Testament that you believe are not divinely inspired.
What is divinely inspired to you?
Meaning divine, meaning
infallible.
Divine,
I don't believe
meaning
any.
Oh,
no. That would be like saying, do I believe the Tanakh is infallible? No, we have textual variances. So by the same standard that you're telling me to judge Paul, I'm going to then therefore judge the Tanakh.
But there's textual variants in English and in other languages, not in the Hebrew.
Yes, there is.
There's only one version of the Tanakh, and
that's not.
No, that's not true. That's not true. No, there's what we go by nowadays is what's called the Aleppo Codex, right? And this is what the Rambam says. It's the most accurate.
This is where I'm from.
Oh, right, Aleppo. Yeah, but this is Aleppo pre-Kabbalah. Not post-Kabbalah. It's true. No, the Chachamim of Aleppo. People think that Sfardim. I love Sfardim, but when I think about Sfardim, I think of the Rambam and the Rif.
The Aleppo Codex in the time of the Aleppo Codex, they were not Sephardic. This was pre the migration of Spanish Jews.
No, I get it.
No, he's not saying they were Sephardic.
Right, I'm not.
No, that's what I'm saying this is like way before.
You're right. I'm using the word loosely because nowadays, Sephardi is anyone who's not white in the Jewish world, unfortunately, right? Or like Edot HaMizrach is everybody, according to Rav Yosef. And why did Rav Yosef wear dark glasses?
Because he sustained an eye injury, no?
Because he wanted to see the world Sephardi. Anyways, forget
Oh my God.
No, it's true because he had like the habit of poskening for Ashkenazim. This is a famous thing. Apart from he always having like the latest BMW, right? The first BMW, the latest BMW that hit Israel always went to Rav Yosef. And he pulled it up to the kotel. This is not a secret. Anyways. And why, do steering wheels in BMWs are so small? Because that's the only way that you could drive with handcuffs on. Okay, fine. Let's keep it going.
That's because Ovadia Yosef was secretly a Persian. Oche Bobo.
What does that even mean?
Not only that though. You have hold on.
Every Persian has a BMW shoe.
Not only
Jamaicans have BMWs.
Megillah 9a through 9b discusses where Jews themselves altered the Septuagint to avoid persecution from the nations. So the idea that all Jews have the same exact Tanakh and they always had the same exact Tanakh and it's never changed, that's not necessarily a true statement.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
But when they altered the Septuagint, that was in the Greek. That wasn't in the Hebrew, though.
No, that's fine. I didn't even know. Wait, hold on. That's not factual, first of all. Only because it appears in the Talmud doesn't mean it actually happened. The Talmud says that we altered the Torah too. There's this notion called Tikkun Sofrim, that Ezra Sofer changed a few words in the Torah to make God less anthropomorphic. All right, but I disagree with that medrash. But it does appear there. That doesn't mean you have to believe it.
Well, I'm only saying the Jews admitted themselves, so it's not like I'm saying this. This is
the Jews. This is probably one rabbi.
Yeah, no.
There's no consensus.
Exactly. I was going to say that just because it's written somewhere doesn't mean that was the consensus for all of Israel at all the time. Because when Ezra was writing that stuff, there was already Jew and Jewish communities already out in diaspora, anyways, that already had words that were written a certain way pre him. So that wouldn't make any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense when you understand that the passages within the Tanakh that we have from the Dead Sea Scrolls are much older. They're like over 1,000 years older than the Masoretic text that you read today.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the Masoretic text. I said very clearly what the Rav said right now, that the changes that Ezra made, there were already Jewish communities out in diaspora that had their own written Torah a certain way. And it was just because it says it like that in the text doesn't mean that it was varied all throughout those communities in the world. This is an opinion of one person.
Can you prove that statement?
Ooh. I can't prove that statement, but can you prove any of your statements too?
Yeah, I have. Megillah 9a through 9b. It's
all
very
right.
But we just said that that's the writings of a rabbi.
Here, look. I mean, I'm gonna be a referee here. I mean, Courtney has a point. Okay. I mean, like, she justified her position, and my response is a little weak, right? I mean, for those who don't know how the Talmud functions, that it's not monolithic. There's a bunch of different ideas, but there are sources like this. What makes our religion spectacular is that the commandments are intact. Meaning, even if you have a Sefer Torah that has one less letter, one less word, it doesn't change one mitzvah. And that is what the Word of God is. This is why that when a Muslim says, do you have a Torah scroll that's signed by Moses? It doesn't matter, because what makes these words in the Torah true and valid is that they work. And they civilized the world, and they gave birth to Christianity and Islam. So that's it. That's proof enough to say that Judaism is better. That's it. I'm not walking around saying that you're like Rabbi Mizrahi. I'm not going to go out on a ledge and try to justify every midrash too, because these people are saying, I can prove that the whole Talmud is true. I could prove by science. Oh my gosh, they heard our argument. It's like every dumb person has just changed the channel. All right, we can't prove God, just like they can't disprove God. We have evidence for God, they have evidence not for God. That's it. So what we could prove is the necessity for a good God. We can prove that people who believe in God and who try to live life according to some ethical standard live better lives. All right, they're nicer people than people who just walk around thinking that their whole existence is an accident. Okay, kids like that, right? I mean, girls like that sleep around, they steal, they have no standard, no morals. Oh my gosh, right? Yeah. If you're an atheist, I encourage you to live life like God exists for the sake of your kids. That's it. And there's many atheistical Jews who put their kids in religious schools because of that. Because you have to be an idiot to assume that living life according to some ethical standard is better than reinventing the wheel ethically every day in your heart. Duh. Just like you have to be taught otherwise that encouraging this ethical standard is just as important or just as valid as not encouraging it, right? You have to be taught that, because like rational people are smarter than that. Coño. All right.
Así me gusta, coño.
That's it. Where do you live, Bob? Alibaba?
Bronx, New York.
The Bronx. And Arena's in Flatbush, right? I mean, can I say that? You guys have to get together.
Who, Renzi?
Oh, whatever. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I know
like
her.
A club.
Renzi's the homegirl.
All right, okay, so you know what's up. Okay. All right. Well, Courtney's in Alabama, so she's kind of out of the way. And I'm way down here in Florida, so. We need to all get together and go to Disney World. Yes.
It's been some
Why
years.
Disney World?
I mean, what else is there to do in Florida that's family friendly?
But why Disney World? Why can't we all just go to a kosher steakhouse in Miami like adults do?
I like her idea better though.
Get some drinks.
Well, there's a kosher steakhouse in Orlando. Well, I mean, it's a shawarma place, but
there's only 2 kosher restaurants in Orlando.
There's Kosher Grill.
Yeah, I've been there.
And there used to be one called Lower East Side. I don't know what happened to it, but it's disgusting. It's like Ashkenazi food. They serve children during the week. Like, you don't want to go to that type of restaurant. And they opened up a pizza place, last I heard. I mean, I lived in Orlando for 6 months. And I was part of the community there. Whatever. It's very disappointing.
That grill place, they have the best schnitzel makluba ever. They took this Arabic dish, matluba. It's like a rice.
Matluba,
they did it in an Israeli way. It was so good.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah, so Disney World it is. Yeah. Or Epcot on a Sunday. No? What do you think?
Someone asked what are popular Sephardi foods.
We really have similar foods to the people we lived with, like Syrian Jews eat Syrian food.
Shakshuka, jachnun.
No, well, depends which country, really.
Jachnun is
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's Yemen, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, jachnun is Yemen.
But it's very Israeli now.
Like North African and Levantines.
Most Israelis eat jachnun now.
Khilbe.
Yeah, jachnun with schug. Oh my God, the red one.
Hamim instead of cholent.
Oh yeah, hamim instead of cholent. Yeah.
The difference is what? It has an egg in it and a couscous.
More flavor.
Oh, well,
Sephardic and Mizrahi is more flavor.
Absolutely.
More
all I
spice.
like is the harif. Everything I eat has harif
more
on it.
Spice. We don't eat gefilte.
We
eat Moroccan fish.
Rav,
Nice gefilte fish.
you've been indoctrinated by the Ashkenazi. That's why you love this gefilte.
There's some gefilte fishes. I'm not saying what comes in a jar, but a nice loaf with a little crane on top. You know, it's like
Listen, Asher, you're like
I'm
you're
a
by
coconut.
heart Sephardic.
Asher,
You're a Spanish
Asher.
Hispanic Jew.
I'm a
You're not
coconut.
Ashkenaz.
So coconut is brown on the outside and white on the inside.
Asher, let me tell you something. It's easier to get a Muslim to become Jewish than it is to get a Sephardi to eat gefilte.
Oh, all right. I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. I like Moroccan.
I'm just
fish.
joking.
And whatever. I like shawarma, but that's not Sephardi.
Oh, shawarma. I love shawarma.
Then what is it? How's it not Sephardi?
I mean, shawarma is not Sephardi. It's like Muslim. What are you talking about?
It's Muslim, but
I mean, Arab.
If we lived with the Arabs for 2,000 years, it's gonna.
But you can't claim it for yourself. While Jews,
yeah, we can because we
Jews
made it
claim,
kosher.
all right, so we could claim gefilte fish. I mean, that's fully Jewish.
I claim hummus with all my heart.
Moroccan fish is Jewish 100%. That's a Jewish recipe. Also, falafel, people claim it's Arab, but the falafel that's made with chickpeas was made by Israelis. The Arabs used to make it with fava beans, which was originated in Egypt. Yes.
I've never heard of that.
Look it up.
That's actually true.
The Israelis changed it and started making it with hummus, with chickpeas. But all the Arabs used to make it, and it was not even a ball the way we see it now. It was
a lot of people
circle,
Asher,
which
I'm
was
gonna
made
say
with
this.
fava beans.
A lot of people don't know this, but also fish and chips was originally a Portuguese Jewish dish.
Yeah, that's nasty. Anyways, all right. Courtney, go ahead. What would you say?
I'm gonna send you that source.
Oh, buñuelos for Hanukkah. That was originated by Sephardic Jews.
Buñuelos that were Colombian.
Exactly, buñuelos what Colombians eat. It was Sephardic Jews that spread it over the Latin America.
All right. Yeah, I mean, un buñuelo is like a cheese bread. No.
I don't know if it's the cheese bread one. Yeah, it's the ball. It's the ball that has like the exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, I never heard of that. I mean, buñuelo. I'm Colombian, by the way, or my family's from Colombia. You know, so I know pan de bono, buñuelo, arepas, and all like a million different pork dishes. Because pork tastes good, like although we can't eat it. And we can't fake the funk and say only because we can't eat something it tastes disgusting. Because we're like, oh, poo. A good. Hey, look, I have a Puerto Rican uncle. So growing up, every Christmas Eve, like he would rotisserie a pork all day, like in the spit all day, and come like 11 at night, because all Spanish parties you eat like at almost midnight because people leave if they eat early, right? And everyone's drunk up, not drugs. And they cut into that pork, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Like, we don't eat it because it's not allowed, okay?
What are you talking about, lechon?
Lechon, that's what's up.
Did you know I found out that Syrian Jews and Dominicans have very similar food than Puerto Ricans? And I think it's because we were all in Spain together once upon a time.
Once upon a time, that's right.
Yeah, but you're not Dominican, Baba Sali.
No, but I'm saying Dominicans and Puerto Ricans,
I'm Puerto Rican.
You know how we, the Syrians, they eat this dish called kibbeh? You ever heard of it?
Yeah, it's kibbeh, like
little, yeah, so like Dominicans eat that. Dominicans make it and eat it, which is crazy.
Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and all of that stuff. It's I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's in mofongo.
When I saw my
kibbeh is like
I went to a New Year's party at my Dominican friend's house and I saw kibbeh. I was like, what is, like, I was so astonished. I was like, you guys eat this? And they were like, yeah. So who knows? Maybe Jews originated kibbeh in Spain and the Arabs took it.
No, not the Arabs. Remember, there was a lot of Jews was also went to Latin America during the Spanish Inquisition.
That's actually very true.
So Spain was split up into two. There was Muslim Spain and Christian Spain.
You know, here's the interesting part, though. Like when the Spanish were actually conquering the New World and conversos were hiding over in the New World, instead of matzah, because the Inquisition was still active in Mexico, the Spanish conversos and Spanish Jews would literally use corn tortilla to celebrate Pesach.
That's true. My family is technically conversos.
I don't think they could use corn. Wait
No,
a
they
minute.
wouldn't.
Yeah, it's kidney.
They wouldn't. The reason that they would use corn was only because that didn't count as chametz.
Chametz, yeah, but they can't make matzah out of it.
No,
then it would have to
definitely
be with
not.
flour.
No, they ate corn tortillas, actual corn tortillas.
Yeah, like actual corn tortillas for Pesach.
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah, fun fact, they actually did use corn tortillas for Pesach just to hide from the Inquisition, because if they were caught with matzah, that would have been a death sentence.
Wait a minute. All right. Well, okay.
I mean,
they weren't too halakhic though. No. According to the Seder, it has to be made of flour. Like of the 5 grains, that has to be part of the 5 grains. Corn is not one of the 5 grains. So that means you could eat it on Passover, but you can't eat it during the Seder. Right?
Correct.
So where's the
lechem or whatever? Whatever. I mean, like flour tortilla would be fine.
A lot of the conversos ended up having stuff forcefully mixed, because one of the things that the Inquisition would make you do is they would force you to convert to Catholicism, they would also force you to get a Catholic husband and or wife. So a lot of the Jews in Latin America, they decided to mix instead with the other forced converts, which were the Native Americans and the blacks, instead of marrying a Spaniard who was like the colonizing enemy.
Yeah.
That's what gave birth to Puerto Ricans.
That's right.
I mean, my mom's family is very much Mezito, and that was kind of the case for them. It's Basque Spanish Jews that were forced to convert and ended up marrying into the native population.
So it was rare amongst the Spanish Inquisition that they forced anybody to convert. It only happened once in Portugal. In Portugal, it did happen. In Spain, they were allowed to leave, or stay and convert. And the Inquisition. There's a misconception that thousands and thousands of people were killed in the Inquisition. I think in a total of 750 years of the Inquisition, less than 3,000 people died. This was I heard this on the Dennis Prager show. Whatever.
Yeah. I know, for example. Wait, speak, Dizzy. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, after you, man. Go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say was I know at least in Puerto Rico the Inquisition lasted from like 1494 till 1870 something.
Well, I mean, the Inquisition still technically kind of exists, but it's called it's a different office. I think it's like the Office of Holy Confession, and believe it or not, Pope Benedict XVI was the last cardinal to oversee that office. Fun fact. Very scary fun fact.
Well, the job of the Inquisition wasn't to convert Jews. It was to find people heretics who were secretly living like Jews inwardly while they were professing to be Christian. And it was just as bad for Muslims who did the same thing as it was for Jews.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. I think
I want to do a DNA test because I really want to see if I have real Sparty in me.
Renzi, you're trying to see if you're Puerto Rican? It's okay. Look, I give you a pass.
I'm trying to see if I'm Spaniard because there were Jews already in Syria. So I wonder if my family was strictly, Levantine, or they were no, because my DNA will be your DNA. Anyway, so that's why I want to know if I'm from Spain. Like, I want to know if I have Spaniard DNA.
Wait, Renzi, do you like rice and beans?
Yeah, we eat rice.
All right, so you're already 50% Puerto Rican there. That's it. It's all right.
That's it.
No, I like.
Just start stealing. You'll be the rest.
Pero yo también
everyone makes rice and beans, not just Puerto Ricans.
Do you like knives, Renzi?
I have knives.
Oh, then you are 100% Puerto Rican. Look at that. That's it.
Pero soy mexicano y me gusta arroz, frijoles y llaves.
All right, so Mexicans don't eat rice. Like rarely.
There's some rice dishes, dude.
And they eat refried beans.
What are you talking about? My grandmother makes this awesome rice. This awesome Spanish rice, arroz.
Huepa.
Yeah, she's cooking from a Puerto Rican cookbook.
No, she's not.
And Mexican music is nothing like Spanish music. It's a bunch of Spanish people with like leather cowboy hats on with like the guitars, like Los Tigres del Norte, and it has, you know, yeah, no, Puerto Ricans have the best music. Although Colombians also have salsa, you know, but everybody
Mexicans have the best food.
Jerry Rivera.
I mean, what's the difference?
Hector Lavoe.
Mexicans have tacos. Puerto Ricans have rice and frijoles.
Asher, you want a teacher?
We call it habichuela, mami, habichuela.
Oh,
you guys call it, yes, we call it frijoles. And but all Spanish people, with the exception of Mexicans, are big on rice and beans.
Literally every culture eats rice and beans.
White people don't eat that stuff. I've been to a Piccadilly when I was in the Army, and I never really been out of Florida at that time. I was in Georgia, and I had this urge for rice and beans in the South, and I was forced to eat rice with black-eyed peas. And it's not the same. Okay, I mean, yeah, most people don't.
I mean, so with us, we eat different types of rice and different beans.
Ahora quiero nachos.
It was a lie, Steven. It was a lie.
pero Asher.
Nacho Libre, everybody. You guys could watch the movie. It's pretty good.
Estás colombiano. Ahí colombianos comen bistec, sí, o es los argentinos?
Todos los latinos comemos bistec. Pollo, cerdo. ¿Ah?
Pero like I was asking, is like steak like the biggest thing? I'm not terribly familiar with.
No, pork and steak. I mean,
skirt steak. I see a lot of Hispanic people eat skirt steak. Maybe.
Oh yeah, churrasco.
Well, yeah,
churrasco steak with the chimichurri.
Chimichurri, mami.
Chimichurri.
I love chimichurri steak. I've made it kosher.
I sent you a recipe for chimichurri, didn't I?
Yes, you did. No, you sent me a recipe for birria tacos.
Oh yeah. No. I thought I sent you a chimichurri as well. I'll send you something.
We lost the audience already. You know, with all this food talk. I mean, everybody went to go get food.
Oh, that's right.
Now let's talk about why cheeseburgers.
Now that they're all gone. All right. So who's drinking baby blood? Say aye. Aye. Okay.
Oh my God.
Who likes cheeseburgers?
Everybody likes cheeseburgers.
Not kosher.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Only Karaites think they're kosher.
Wait. Let me say exactly what my non-Jewish friends say. Just have a rabbi pray over it, and that's it.
No.
You don't know how many times I've heard that.
Yeah, honestly.
No, Alibaba. We don't consider meat and cheese to be non-kosher.
No. I know. That's a Karaite tradition. Yeah, that I know.
Yeah, but you do have your own standards of kosher, by the way.
We do.
That don't appear in the Torah.
Yeah, we do.
As how you define. Yeah, everyone has their own little.
Karaites don't eat fat, right? That's what it is.
Well, certain fats. But they believe the fat that goes on top of the shawarma they don't eat.
Not the shawarma.
Yes, so in Israel, Karaites don't eat shawarma. You believe that? I mean, what else is there to eat?
That's a pain in my heart.
Yeah. You know, they're sacrifices I have to make. You know, and I'm totally cool with that. I am totally cool with keeping kosher, with keeping things in the traditions of my ancestors.
Yeah, but if you're looking to date to get married, like, where do you? I mean, is there like I don't know, like a Frumster for Karaites? You know, like a website for like Karaite Jews?
For like, you know, something like JDate or
yeah.
Nah, not really.
Well, I should start one.
I should start one?
Why not? I mean, you're a Karaite.
There's only 40,000 of us in the world, dude.
Right. And probably 30,000 are women, you know, find husbands. Yeah, for some reason there's a crisis in the Jewish world that there are too many religious women and not enough religious men to accommodate them.
Polygyny.
Well, here's the thing, though, because if I'm trying to find, like, you know...
Should we bring back polygamy or what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, it's probably not a bad idea, okay?
I was joking.
Well,
I wasn't.
Neither was I.
Women live alone, right? Because
I know you men weren't joking.
No. I'm pretty sure you'd also come to the conclusion that it's better to share a guy that you like than to just be single for the rest of your life.
I mean, it was never really even banned. except by the Ashkenazi community for 1,000 years, which already been
It's not
ended a long
legal
time
in
ago.
America. That's why we don't. We have to follow
Yeah,
law.
Yeah,
but
but we're not
since when
arguing
do we
legality.
Semites follow the law? Come
Hold
on.
on.
Look,
We're not arguing legality.
Asher,
We're arguing like
Asher,
if it's a good idea or a bad idea.
Us
Asher.
Arabs and Jews never follow the law anyways. It's all right.
Listen, most men can't even afford one. So if you can't afford one, don't get two. That's all.
Depends. I mean, lower the standard of living. You have
Let's have up to 4, like halacha says.
Well, I mean,
I'm not encouraging polygamy, guys.
I mean, if
wouldn't be
Solomon
argument
can
why
have
it's a
like
bad
what
idea.
700, I want 700 as well.
Yeah,
Kidding.
according to the how you call it, according to the Mishnah, we're supposed to have up to 4.
Or could have up to 4.
Correct. According to the Torah, you're allowed as many as you can afford. According to the Mishnah, is up to 4.
Honestly, though, you know, with today's kind of slim pickings, it's just, I know I can't possibly find another woman in the Karaite community, and that's kind of heartbreaking.
Another woman?
But
you have one already?
What?
You said find another woman. You have one already?
No. There was somebody else, but that ship sailed.
Hold on. I'm going to help you out here. And it's we have 26 viewers now. So this is from God, because 26 is the number of God, right? Ladies, we have a guy here with a dog for a profile picture, which tells you he's a sensitive, kind-hearted individual. So where do you live?
Florida.
Really? Where?
Tampa.
All right. Okay. You're far from me. Fine.
You're taking on Shadchan also now, Asher?
Yeah, that's it. I'm a Shadchan. What? How old are you?
30. I'm about to be 31 in a few days.
Oh, you're a little kid. All right. So you have your whole life in front of you. Single guy in his 30s. I mean, you're definitely like African American, right? I mean, you sound like a black guy.
Nah, half Latino, half Karaite from the Lithuanian community.
Oh, so you're like a real Karaite.
Yes.
You were like a Nehemiah Gordon, just a Christian who doesn't believe in.
No. Like legitimately, my family literally is Karaite from Lithuania.
Oh, so you have an agenda here. I mean, it's not like you came to this conclusion. You were born into it.
Yes.
Look at that. Okay. All right. That removes credibility a little bit, but fine. Okay, so single guy in his 30s, Jewish, but not Orthodox.
Bro, he lives in Tampa. How many Jews live in Tampa?
No, there's a lot of Jews there. Like
really?
Yeah, older Jews, like retirees. But there's a Chabad there.
Okay, then that doesn't matter.
Are you willing to date Christians?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I mean, you sort of expanded your outlook there. I mean, I don't encourage dating traditional Christians. Maybe if they're Torah observant or they convert to Judaism.
Bro, my mom's Catholic, so literally, I.
All right, so you're not that picky. All right, how can they reach you?
I mean, you can follow me on the gram. That's for sure.
Yeah, but how do they find you on the here? Well, ladies, if you're listening, just like follow him here on TikTok. There's a girl here I know from Indiana. I'm not sure if she's single or not. You gotta ask his age limit. Oh, what's your age limit?
Between the ages of 28 and 34.
All right, okay. 28. Yeah, but you're 31. I mean, you should be going for 18-year-olds.
That's, the last thing I want is for Chris Hansen to magically show up and go, why don't you have a seat over there?
Oh, you're from Nightline? No, I'm not talking about, oh, it's interesting. I was the assistant chaplain in, I was part-time chaplain for a little while in Petersburg Federal Prison. And there was a rabbi they caught on Dateline, right, with Chris Hansen.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he was locked up in that prison, and he spent Yom Kippur with us because we were there for the Jews, so we took him a Sefer Torah and whatever. We led the prayers there for Yom Kippur. Yeah, so he was the rabbi of was it Liberty? Man, what's his name? Rabbi K. Here, look it up. Rabbi K. K-A-Y. So he was a rabbi who was caught on Nightline, was soliciting boys, sex from boys. But anyways, there you go.
Yep, I know who you're talking about. I think that guy's a scumbag. And
okay. I mean, I just brought it up because you mentioned Nightline, but I never said girls who were underage. You know, although Epstein is not a pedophile, by the way. I mean, he's I mean, that means prepubescent. But go ahead.
Renzi, Ollie, what did I get myself into?
All right, so ladies, a single guy here in his 30s. Is that your dog?
Yeah, he's the family dog.
Okay. Oh, wait. I mean, family dog. So you live with your parents?
No, I don't.
Oh, wait, hold on. I mean, I just cornered you in a position here.
No,
guys, I didn't mention that he doesn't live with his family. All right, top G over here. What color is your Bugatti?
Bugatti.
My Toyota.
If he has a Bugatti, I'll save me.
A nice red.
I'll take him.
I mean, if I had a Bugatti, I want it to be white with the white tires.
Renzi, hop in the Bugatti.
Okay, when are we meeting?
No, but I'd convert him for you. I'll do that for, like, if someone has a wife who for some reason wants to convert and they themselves are Jewish, just bring it down here and I'll give them a halachic conversion. You know, so your
I'm
kids.
Syrian. I go by Bugatti, Maserati, Mercedes, but it has to be a Maybach, no regular Mercedes.
Ooh. Yeah, no, you guys are like used to living like beyond your means.
Oh, chill. I drive a Hyundai Tucson. Calm down.
The Bugatti is white. The Bugatti.
That's all right. I drive a Honda Accord. It is what it is.
All right. I mean, I don't want to flex on what I drive, but you know,
BMW.
I mean, I have to remain like humble here.
Mercedes C-Class.
Asher Meza has his own Bugatti.
My own Bugatti. No, I don't drive a Bugatti. No, but I have motorcycles mostly. Fine. Okay. All right. So ladies, hit him up. Look, I have 26 people. I don't know. I think it's frozen. It was up to like 80, but when we started talking about food, we lost everybody. So what's your name anyways, Diz?
I don't want to give my name out.
Damn, I just realized I don't even know his real name, and I've been speaking to
told you my real name.
7 months. Oh yeah, you did. I remember now. It's very Spanish.
Yes, very Spanish.
Jose Maria.
Enrique Roberto Gustavo de la Hoya Ramirez.
No. I'll get you guys.
Is Asher your real name, or you changed it?
George is my real name.
No.
Asher.
Jorge.
No, George with a G. And my father is Jorge. Yeah.
Asher was the son that was happy, the son that was always smiling.
My real name, my birth name is Neftali.
Really?
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, look at that.
Okay. My birth name is Alejandro.
Ooh, Alejandro, Alex.
No. There's a cousin.
Alex.
No, fuck you. There's a cousin named Alex. No, there's another cousin. He's Alejandro. He's Alex. I'm Hondo.
Hondo?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good movie. I'm a big John Wayne fan. Most people don't know this. I love John Wayne and Ernest Hemingway. Everything Ernest Hemingway I've read like 3 times. And John Wayne is just apart from him like beating girls, which he does like in every movie apparently. Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, but Sean Connery does that too, and he's freaking James Bond. So maybe there's something there. Fine.
By the way, Diz, if you don't want anyone to know your name, don't come back here because he's going to keep calling you by your real name.
No, man.
Yeah, you are. I told him my name once, and that's all he calls me.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, but you spelled it out, and it sort of, yeah. I have a bad memory.
My nickname is Renzi, though, but people in real life call me Renzi, too, so it's not like a made-up name.
Wait, what's your real name, Renzi?
Rena.
Oh my God. Okay.
It means... Yeah. We all know what it means.
Joy, yeah.
Joy and happiness.
So my haters call me Jorge.
Ironically.
George is Jorge. If you're Spanish,
but it's not.
George, it's Jorge.
I'm American. I'm actually born in Passaic. It's funny. Passaic is a very religious neighborhood, but not when I was born there. I mean, back then it was like Puerto Rican and black people. Now it's like Lakewood. So George with the G is not Jorge. So my father is George with a J. But to discredit me as like I'm some sort of spick or something, they're like, oh, Rabbi Jorge,
Why did you just say that disgusting word?
No, I'm Spanish. I could say it. It's kind of like, yeah.
Oh my God. So you would call another Spanish person that word?
No, I said myself. I can speak Lashon Hara myself. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Naftali.
I absolutely will,
George. Okay, so Naftali, Rena, George.
No, his name is Asher. He changed his name.
I'm Ashkenazi. It's Usher.
He's Sephardic.
You
Ooh,
know,
Oh,
Usher.
Usher.
You're
Yeah.
not
Oh,
Ashkenazi.
when I used to work for an
You're by blood
Ashkenazi.
Sephardic.
Wait, listen, Rob.
Stop
When I used to
denying
work
your
for an
roots,
Ashkenazi, they
Asher.
used to call me Neftoili. Neftoili.
Yeah, that's how they say it, Naphtali. I used to work in a very Hasidic community in Borough Park,
No, me too.
and I used to call them their names in a Hebrew accent, like a regular Hebrew accent, and they didn't like it.
Yeah, because
Salman.
yeah, that always used to
Rivka!
make me laugh because my boss was like Neftali, Neftali.
No, you gotta use like Yiddish words, like
Rivka!
from me. I mean, how do you say from me? Like an
I'm not
Israeli
for
accent?
me. I'm not for me.
No,
Oh my God.
for me's a name.
Yeah, so for me, like, how do you say for me in Hebrew? Like, for
Oh,
me?
it's for meat.
For me.
Flumit.
Yeah.
Flumit.
I don't know, Shulamit, and the Ashkenaz say Shalamis.
You know what was the one thing that used to kill me though? When they used to say Shala Shudis. Oh my God.
Oy, gewollt.
Shalis.
Shala Shudis. Oh my God.
You know, it's interesting.
Shacharis.
I've given advice to people to sound more Jewish and not to always seem like they're an undercover Christian. It's not a coincidence that most undercover Christians who try to act Jewish always pronounce everything in a Sephardi accent. If you really want to fool people, pronounce things in an Ashkenazi accent and they'll never
see if they know it, right?
Yeah. No, because the Messianic learns Hebrew by reading books, and they're typically Israeli Hebrew books. You know, but if you go there with a Hungarian Elokaini, Omain,
Elokaini,
all you need to do is ask them, do you know what a J-dub and an SY is if they're in New York? And if they don't, it's over. These are internal terms that only Jews in Brooklyn know.
I do not know what a J-dub is.
J-dub is an Ashki.
Oh, I didn't know.
And an SY is a Sephardic. Anyone a part of this community, like the Syrian community, Moroccan, Persian, like anyone that lives within our community, that we're all considered SY.
Yeah.
Honestly, so.
Very nice.
Okay. Well, Asher, by the way, fluent in Basque, conversational Spanish, fluent in English, can read Hebrew. Only read it, not have a conversation in it.
Yeah, the Basques, they're like terrorists, no? They blow stuff up.
Okay, that's ETA. That's ETA. That's not me. My family does not endorse that. Neither do I.
So most people don't know. I mean, talking about terrorism, I was part of the JDL in Israel. Like I ran kahana.org for 5 months. I hosted it. I had like tons and tons of articles that no longer exist. I mean, I don't think like kahana.org is even up. You know, but yes, I mean, I lived in a place called for a short time in Kfar Tapuach, where it's like the last stand of like kahanis in Israel. And there we go. FYI about me.
No. It's just.
So Rav, you're a kahana. You're a kahanis. Kahana high.
Yeah, we gotta go. Everybody get down. Just kidding.
No. I'm not involved. I mean, I don't even identify as like Datilumi. Like I don't support Israel from a religious perspective. Which I mean, Meir Kahana wasn't a Zionist, really. I mean, that's a misconception. Like the Meir Kahana guys were the guys who tried to start their own country in Israel, like the kingdom of Judea. Yeah, like the hilltop settlers like don't support the government because they're always tearing down like their caravans and their like their settlements, you know. But they want Israel to be from, but they don't like think that the Medina is justified by the whatever.
So, do you know that most people my age and older that were in America earlier on?
God, Renzi, you sound like 90.
So once we started opening our Sephardic schools and stuff, mainly our teachers were Ashkenaz or Hasidic from the Hasidic community who taught us. So we started to pronounce things very Ashkenaz, like in prayers and stuff. We prayed Sephardic way, but we prayed very Ashkenaz, like the way we pronounce things were very Ashkenazi. So it's very interesting how I grew up, and I was like, wait, this is not how we pray, because my dad would listen to us. He's like, don't say it like that. But yeah.
Yiska dog, Yiska day.
All right.
Fine. All right, guys. I think on that note, we should just step out for today because everyone's left already. But thank you for thank you, Alex, Thank you.
You cool. It's Wando.
Just
Hondo. I'm sorry, Hondo.
Alex, Neftali, and Rena.
Yes, Rena. Hi.
Renzi.
Renat.
Lo, not Renat, not Rima.
No, not
Rina.
Remima.
Rina.
Remima.
Resh Yud Nun Hey.
No?
Neftali, Nun Feitav Lamed Yod. There you go.